scores quick. Our disaster recovery requires even more discs. Put your pipes up, prove it or you forfeit. Got my C64 and we blew it into orbit. M. Bison with 8 straight perfects. Overbold emotions make hate break circuits. In case you heard, it's a name fake service. Optimize our runtime to escape verdicts. Got an integer scope flow that they can't sign. Passing code, didn't sanitize command lines. Landmine. So before they'll see me after, I'm advice star, courage, woke plus velociraptor. Don't prove we're human unless we really have to. My team built schemes that destroy, recapture. Hate what they see. Finish this chapter. By the way, we're not any geeks, we hack into NASA. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Got this vodka and this Red Bull, they still give me wings. So we drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. 0 through 3, we're in every single ring. I'm just waiting till my BlackBerry dies, cause I'll replace it with the Raspberry Pi. Don't compare to this track, it makes everything they said dull. Neutralize any threat, turn Red Skull to Dev Null. They killed virus writers that we mentioned, but instead they ascended to the VX heavens, then reincarnate as live wires. Still inside we hide ciphers and sign device drivers. Which school will we hit next? They didn't learn the format, so we've got a print F. Next step is a chin check. Freestyles that I spit best, they didn't decrypt yet. I crush internet MCs and rhyme battles. Get your Wi-Fi tackled, hacked by pineapple. I don't think you'll like my Snapple, cause I popped it with vodka in a cyanide capsule. We drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Got this vodka and this Red Bull, they still give me wings. So we drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things.
You know there's gonna be security, right?
First we drink all the booze, then hack all the things. Then backdoor the firmware on anything you bring, regardless of the hardware, service or encoding. Connected to the internet and someone's gonna own it. This is for the pirates that clap and love the sound. Attacking from the cloud, then we're back in underground. There's no masking from us now. We pop tour nodes around the globe, track and hunt you down. Packed on schedule, add it to your calendar. Devices online, here comes another challenger. State infiltrated, so undercover. This is for my comrades who stare at the debuggers and trace every buffer. Examining the code flow, haven't been to sleep, better pop another no-dose. I think I'll need a planet-sized urn, cause some men just wanna watch the world burn. Your turn.
Can we stay out of jail?
Technologically possible, yeah.
Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Got this vodka and this Red Bull, they still give me wings. So we drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. Drink all the booze, hack all the things. 0 through 3, we're in every single ring.
I mean, these servers have more firewalls than the devil's bedroom.
Hack all the things. Drink all the booze. Hack all the things. Hack all the things. Hack all the things. Things. 0 through 3, we're in every single ring. Hack all the things.
Yeah, well, good luck, man.
They still give me wings. Drink all the things. Drink all the vodka and pack all the booze. Drink all the booze. Hack all the hackers. Hack all the hackers.
Not every geek with a Commodore 64 can hack into NASA.
This one's dedicated to all the hackers. Yo, even out, settle scores quick.
Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone around, welcome to you, Waid. Yay! That's just straight up fucked up. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to UHC, the Ultimate Hacking Championship. Tonight is our 26th edition, I guess. 25. I don't know how fingers work, but welcome. I'm your host tonight here at UHC. I'm Marina Chavada for those who don't know me. I'm social engineer from Brazil, just as UHC is also from Brazil. So you're going to see me struggle with English throughout the night. So please bear with me. UHC CTF is run by Hacking Esports, which is also a Brazilian company. The creator, Igor Rincon, founded Hacking Esports company and turned UHC into the first CTF. So the plan is to have a lot of CTFs. And the plan is also to turn CTF into an official esports on the long run. So that's pretty cool. And we use CTF as a learning platform. Actually, UHC has its own learning platform using all the, the past challenges. If you like to, learn a little bit more about it, it's called UHC Labs. It's all in Portuguese. Meanwhile, but as you don't if you don't speak Portuguese, you can always practice CTF on Hack the Box and Try Hack Me. I mean, there's a lot of cool platforms around. There is a whole set of UHC social media profiles, such as Instagram, such as LinkedIn, and Twitter. There's the YouTube channel as well, where you can watch all the past editions. So if you missed anything, or if you would like to rewatch a match, you can find all of them on YouTube. And we have the Discord server. Now, the Discord server is the special one, because there you can compete in. You can get prizes on giveaways. You can compete on the qualifier rounds. So if you want to compete here tonight on Twitch for the cash prize, you should go to the qualifier that happens on Discord every Saturday. If you go to the Discord server, you can find the link in any of the UHC social media, or you can just type here on the chat, exclamation point Discord, I think is the command. And the bot, the very rude bot, will give you the Discord link, and you can participate in the Discord. Well, the qualifiers rounds happen there. A lot of our players are there as well. A lot of our fans are there, so you can get to know the community. And you can also play other CTFs together. We also study CTFs there as well. All right, so I would like to thank a lot for today's sponsors. We have a bunch of sponsors. Not all of them are appearing at the same time on our upper bar here, because we have a bunch of them tonight. But we do have Offensive Security. Let that sink in. Sponsoring us tonight, and we also have very exclusive giveaways from Offensive Security tonight as well. If you would like to participate on the exclusive giveaways, stay with us, and we're gonna explain how you can do that throughout the night. We have also CrowdSec, which is a Brazilian company. It's pretty cool what they do. They have a bunch of very dope content on web hacking and pen testing. It's kind of like a Netflix of content. But then again, it's all in Portuguese, so you gotta practice. We hope that someday Kadu decides to translate all of his content. It's already hard enough to make him speak in English here on UHC. For those who don't know, he is also a commentator on the Brazilian live. So we have two UHC lives going on. We have the English live, that's this one, and we have the Brazilian one, and they're talking a lot of Portuguese there. With the creator, and Kadu from CrowdSec is also the person who develops a lot of the machines that people play, not only here on tonight's CTF, but also on the qualifiers. So he actually builds like a lot of machines for 2 different CTFs every week. That's insane for itself. We also have Bug Hunt, which is a Brazilian bug bounty company. Pretty cool. We have X Labs, another company from Brazil. We have Hecate. Hecate is my own company, also from Brazil. So yeah, if you would like to see a little bit more, gringo companies sponsoring us, just send them the link. That's it for thanking everyone. We're going to explain a lot more of the company's participation in the UHC tonight as we go. And I would like to move on to my special host of the night. I will not be alone, as you know, if you're watching UHC throughout the weeks. Ooh. You know that I do have an amazing co-host, and here he is. Hi.
Hey.
Hey, this is my
How's it going?
husband, but you may also know him as Dual Core or NTD from Dual Core. I will let him introduce himself.
Yeah, my name is Int80. I am the rapper in Dual Core. I hack computers and make rap music about it. I've started 2021 with a set of goals, and one of those goals is to release 2 solo EPs, so just rap projects of my own. And the first one is coming out next week, 1 week from today. And so I'm super excited about that. It is a EP that I made with Michael Kill, who is a producer and rapper from North Carolina. He does system admin and network admin stuff. And the EP is called Loyalty. It's all about Full Metal Alchemist, and I was inspired to write it while watching Full Metal Alchemist with Marina in Brazil. I don't watch many animes, but I really enjoyed watching Full Metal. Other than that,
I do watch a lot of animes.
Other than that, I just love hacking, and I am super excited for our other guest host tonight and for UHC. So let's keep it moving.
Our special guest up tonight is someone that I adore. It's someone that probably you know from Twitter, from live, from conferences, or just whatever. If you're in the internet, you probably know them. We have Ian Coldwater with us tonight. Yay!
Hi! Thank you for having me on. I'm super excited to be here.
Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. My name is Ian Coldwater. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is in the middle of the USA, on the top over by Canada. It's really cold and snowy here. I am, I come from a DevSecOps turned pen testing background. I specialize in hacking containers, clouds, Kubernetes, cloud native environments. I was doing a lot of competitive CTFing for a while before I became a pen tester, and then started doing that all the time. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Really excited to hack all the things.
Yay!
Yes.
As you can notice. All right, I think we can jump into knowing a little bit more about our players tonight. Let me go check here real quick. If you've never seen UHC before, if it's your first time watching UHC tonight, you can expect around 3 to 4 flags. Actually, tonight we have 3 flags. We have the easy, the medium, and the hard one. We go through 3 hours of championship, or if any of the 10 players competing tonight gets all the 3 flags, the championship also ends. So we did have already past editions where someone just Kawe, for example, just won everything in like less than 30 minutes or less than 40 minutes. It's just insane. So we never know what the hell is gonna happen. So we just hope to have a little bit of time to come in tonight.
Yeah. And we don't know what the challenges are ahead of time either. So you might see us kind of pause at points where we're kind of speculating what the players are doing, but we'll have the players live on screen, their screens showing what they're up to. And as Marina pointed out, sometimes the players run through the challenges. Kawe ran through like an AWS challenge that we had on UHC in like 25 minutes once. Yep. So we never know. Sometimes we get the full 3 hours and players only get 1 or 2 of the flags. But this is our 25th edition, and let's see the 10 players.
it is a mix of emotions, watching someone do that so quickly. You're like, oh my God, can you look at that? Oh, it's over. Okay. I kind of wanted more, but that was pretty cool. Let's take a look on who's playing tonight. All right. We have Mateus Pimentel. He is a veteran at this point. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. He is a veteran at this point. He already played a few editions. I think he played like around 6 or 5 at this point.
Yeah, he's been on a few weeks now.
Yeah, he did not win so far. So I think maybe we're seeing someone like Luska. Luska was a past player. We saw him play a lot of editions, and then out of nowhere he just won. And not out of nowhere. He was playing a lot, so he was training himself up. And at some point he actually won, and we were so glad to see it. So I guess maybe Mateus is having the same course here on UHC. All right, we have David. We have Intadi's favorite player. He is João Ribeiro. Ian, do you know this joke?
I don't.
All right, so João is actually Intadi's favorite player because he cannot say the name of this kit right, for the love of God. It's not. I understand it's not an easy sound for people outside Brazil to make with their mouths, which is João. The accent there. And Haiti just say João. It's like, oh, okay. So he went Owen Wilson on that. It's not what we're looking for exactly, but that's the thing. So we have to translate this kid's name to English for Haiti's capabilities. So we call João John, which is the literal translation of the name, and Ribeiro in English would mean something by the river, kind of like that. So we have here John Rivers.
Does he like being called that?
We do not know. I should ask.
He hasn't complained about it yet.
I mean, not too awkward.
There were a lot more complaints about my mispronunciation, even when I was trying to get it right.
Fair enough.
Wow. Can you say it?
João.
Yeah, just say John. we have Pichu. Pichu, I think it's a newcomer, right?
P2 was
I
on
don't
last week.
recognize the name. Oh, P2 was on last week?
I believe so.
Oh, Ian's paying more attention than I am.
That does sound right. Yeah, I think we checked in on P2 a few times.
We have another newcomer. We have Mr. Gentleman. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Gentleman. We have Bigos. Okay, we've seen Bigos playing a few rounds already, so not a newcomer, almost a veteran, I would think, right? I think we've seen him around maybe 4 or 5 times already?
Yeah, they've been on several weeks now.
Yeah. All right, so welcome back, Bigos. Oh, look who we have here. Okay.
Silesian, yes.
Silesian. For those who don't know, Silesian is the one and only 4 times champion. So this kid is a monster. One of the records is held by him as well. I think it's the 40-minute record, right? When IPSEC first came to UHC. Is that it?
Yeah, in IPSEC's first week hosting with us, I think Silesian got all of the flags within 30 to 40 minutes. And then also in the finals, I think there were a total of 4 or 5 flags. And I think Silesian was the first to get all of them at around the hour-and-a-half mark. So
yeah, this
definitely
kid is
impressive.
insane.
Yeah, and Silesian has only been hacking for, I think it was like a year and a half, something like that. And Silesian is like 17 years old. So, they haven't been going at it long, but they are just picking things up quickly and just really tearing through. It's fascinating to watch.
That's awesome.
Oh, we have B too. Another, I think B is a 3-time winner, if I'm not mistaken. B is also another very, very strong competitor.
Absolutely. Yeah. B also young and picks things up really quickly. So we're definitely going to have a good match on our hands tonight. Salesian and B, I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of screen time from them to see what they're up to.
All right. Next we have Castillo. Okay, another player coming back. Castillo also played a few rounds, never won, but he is getting better and better as time goes by. So welcome back, Castillo. It's another name that is difficult to pronounce if you're not Portuguese or Spanish speaker. Castillo. Leo. It's this L sound. Not Castillo. No, not Castillo.
Castillo.
There you go. Yes. Perfect. Damn. All right. Oh, okay. We have Waid tonight. Oh wow, we have Salesian, Waid, and B in the same round tonight. This is gonna be crazy. Waid is another 3 times champion, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, damn. Okay.
Gonna be a good time.
And I think Waid won last week. Am I correct in remembering that?
Maybe. Yeah, he won last week. All right.
Nice.
So yeah, we got a bunch of amazing people playing. We have another newcomer tonight. Welcome, Eclipse. It would say it would be in English Eclipse 0. In Portuguese, Eclipse Zero, which is same fucking thing. And that is it. We have our 10 players up tonight. Yay! That's tonight's match. It's gonna be real good.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah, this is great. I think Waid, B, and Salesian were in the finals last year, for our final match of the year. And if I did Waid finish third? I remember Salesian finished first, B finished second, but I want to say that Waid finished third, if I remember correctly.
I don't know by heart. All right, so we have officially started UHC tonight, yo. We are already on the Discord server. This is a private Discord server where only us, the narrators, have access to watch everyone's screen. So we have the 10 top players of the qualifiers here on the 10 private rooms on Discord, and we get to see what they're doing because all of them are streaming their screens. It is mandatory for playing UHC tonight so every player has to stream their screen on Discord for us to broadcast here on Twitch. Also, just so you know, you can actually bet tonight on the winners of UHC. So you can bet on the players according to their rooms on the Discord here. So if you, for you to place your bets, you can type exclamation point points or exclamation point bet. And then you can use your Twitch points of tonight's match. You get Twitch points by interacting in the chat. And you can bet those points here according to all the players' rooms. So on first room, we have Eclipse, the newcomer. On second room, we have Mateus Pimentel. On third room, we have John Rivers, João Ribeiro. On the fourth room, we have P. Chu. 5 room, we have Mr. Gentleman, the newcomer. 6, we have Bigos. 7, we have Salesian. 8, we have B. 9, we have Castillo. And 10, we have Waid. So for you to bet, you can choose whatever player you want by the room on Discord. The number here. And that's it. You can bet up to, I think you can bet on during the first 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And then the bets are closed for obvious reasons. So get your points there as soon as you can and choose your winner of tonight's match.
Yep. And so in what you're seeing on the screen right now, we're looking at Eclipse Zero's screen. And each of the players are in these separate rooms, which are kind of like isolation booths. So no player can see any other player's screen directly. They could do like a side channel attack and see, watch the streams and see what's being broadcast. But other than that, the players are pretty isolated and they're just off on their own hacking. And so during the stream, we kind of bounce around and check out different players' screens. We may not all be on the same screen at the same time. So if you see something cool going on one of the players' screens, call it out and we can jump over to that. Sometimes a player will get a flag, and so we'll try to go hop onto their screen and see what they were doing at that time to get the flag.
Also, as you can see here on the screen, we have the scoreboard link. If you want to, get updated.
First blood.
God damn it, I was just explaining the scoreboard, and we already have our first blood. All right, so Salesian with 100 points already.
Nice.
That was so fast.
Yes. Wow. All right. Should we bounce over to Salesian and see what Salesian's up to?
Yeah,
Other than getting flags.
Oh,
we're watching Salesian right now.
Oh, nice. Great. So yeah, it looks like they are setting up a Python script, which looks like, based on the naming of the script, 334900, I'm guessing it's from like exploit.db. And then looks like they're trying to get a reverse shell, I'm guessing. But I didn't catch what the initial flag was. And the flags for the first thing will turn up in a number of different ways. I see up at the top there, shell shock, Apache mod CGI remote exploit. So I'm guessing that maybe this is an older version of Apache that's running that is vulnerable to shell shock. And so, Ian, have you seen any, did you ever see any like cool shell shock stuff when that exploit first came out and was like a thing floating around the internet?
It's common enough on Capture the Flags that as soon as I saw shellshock.py, I was like, oh, well, there you go. That one will happen quickly because we've all seen it. I don't know that I saw anything terribly uniquely exciting, but it was pretty sweet when that first came out to like be able to play with it because it's so reliable. As a defender, I think it was probably less fun, I suspect.
Yes. Absolutely. I remember seeing requests turn up in some logs somewhere, and it was the actual payload was dropping an IRC bot. And so I bounced through Tor and jumped onto the C2 for the IRC daemon and was just in the chat watching the bots come in and come out. And eventually the operator saw me in there and booted me, did like a kick. And then I rejoined the channel, and then they were like messaging me, but their IP was somewhere in like Spain or maybe like Mallorca or something. And so I was talking to them in Spanish, which I thought was hilarious. I'm amazed that they didn't like freak out immediately and like burn everything down, because that would have been my initial reaction.
Yeah, fair enough.
On Salesian's screen, we were seeing Verp repeater, and we see the flag there and look like view source. But looks like the payload is in the user agent. So it looks like something that's processing the user agent is what's vulnerable to shell shock. And then it looks like they're setting up a reverse shell.
Oh, we already have 2 more people in the scoreboard, y'all. We have Waid now on 2nd place, also with the easy flag, 100 points. And we have the newcomer, Mr. Gentleman, in 3rd place with 100 points as well. So yeah, in like 5 minutes of UHC, now we have 3 players in our scoreboard, everyone with 100 points, and Salesian first.
Awesome. I have a hunch that B might be getting close as well. It looks like they've got the Python script loading up. So if you want, we could bounce over to B and we might catch them in the act of getting the actual flag. I'm not familiar with this particular script though. Like every time I've done shell shock before, I just manually do the payload. And I didn't realize that there was tooling that was published that would give you like nice payloads back, like a reverse shell or something like that.
I'm fairly sure that I've seen that particular script, and I think that I'll get in trouble if I say where. So I just won't. But I'm fairly sure that I've seen
it on UHC.
Yeah.
That's it. That's where I recognize that from right now.
I mean,
Yeah, so one of the things that I've noticed that's kind of been a really cool progression with the players is initially, I think in the first weeks, the players were kind of using ngrok to get these shells back. And now I see them using this like reverse shell site. And I also see them rolling their own like BPSs with, out in the cloud. So you can just have unmitigated connections coming right back to your host. And so I think that's like been really cool. And I always, every time I'm like blown away by the different platforms that the players are using, right? So here watching B, we've got VMware Workstation running on a Windows host. And then inside of that, some distribution of Linux that I'm not familiar with at all, Educatu, I guess. So I think it's really cool showing off that you can be successful with whatever tooling you've got. You don't necessarily need to run Parrot or Kali or anything specialized. You can still hack with pretty much anything.
Honestly, I very rarely use Kali.
Yeah.
It doesn't always necessarily make sense to in the environments that I mostly spend time in. And it's a Swiss Army knife and it has a lot of stuff on it. But a lot of the time, maybe you'll need one or two of those things. And sometimes it makes more sense to just use Kali rolling and install the tools you actually need.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to say, same for me in my previous job doing red team operations inside of environments. I mean, I've almost never had to use any kind of specific exploits or anything. It was just kind of more of the like recon, figuring out how systems talk to each other, how data is supposed to move through the environment, and then using that same behavior to work my way through to whatever my objectives were.
Totally. And a lot of the time it's just knowing how things work really well. Like read the man pages really, really thoroughly and know exactly how systems are supposed to look when they're working and what it can look like when they're maybe misconfigured. And if you know that well, you can spot those misconfigurations and then you can exploit those.
Yeah, great. It is excellent. And I always like going for read primitives, right? So yeah. Can I just like read a config file, or can I do like netstat or SS to see what boxes, or like, look at the ARP tables to see what other systems does this host talk to, rather than having to like run nmap and scan across an entire subnet and make a bunch of noise.
And yeah, be really loud and have people see you. Figuring out Linux capabilities can also be fun, seeing if there's anything kind of like on the underneath there.
Oh yeah, great point. That's something that I've been meaning to look into and still have not gotten to it. And so all I know is like capsysadmin. If you find something with capsysadmin, you can win pretty much.
That one's pretty good. Capnet raw is a popular one in Kate's land. It's because you can use it to do network stuff through ping. So that one is a fun one. There have been a couple of exploits in the last year or so that have used that one, and it's usually on by default.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. And that's like outside of containers, just like on Linux hosts?
It depends. It depends on how people are running their Linux, but it's commonly found.
Nice. Okay, so I actually, Ian, could I ask you some questions about Kubernetes and pronunciations?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to spell probably just the first one because I don't want to intentionally mispronounce it. And then I'd like to hear your pronunciation. So the first one is Kublet.
Kubelet, like a piglet.
Kubelet.
The baby kube.
Okay. Are there any Kubernetes terms where the U is pronounced differently, where it's like cube something instead of kube?
There are people who will say kubelet. It is, I would say, less common. There aren't necessarily community consensuses on how to pronounce some of these things. kubectl in particular, which is probably the next one you were going to read to me, is a matter of ongoing friendly debate. There are people who say kube control, people who say kube cuddle or kube cuddle. I know one person, hello Duffy, if you're watching, who says kube kettle, and and I just say kubectl. All of them are, special and valid in their own ways, except for kube cuddle, which is obviously incorrect. And yeah.
So there's no wrong way to pronounce that one except for kube cuddle.
Unless you ask the people who say kube cuddle, in which case there's no wrong to say that one except for kube control, right? But it's, it's all friendly, and Kubernetes is a really kind of close community, and we're all friends with each other. So when we're ribbing each other, that's a go-to.
Nice. Hey, I noticed in your advanced persistence threats talk that you had said kubectl, and actually that was number 3 on my list. So you had got me on the off by 1 error.
And in that one, I think Brad says kube control. And you know, I do a lot of co-presentations because it's fun to hack with friends. And I think the person I was mentioning who said kube kettle is the person who did it in my Black Hat talk. So yeah, you know, you can get the whole gamut.
Yes.
Thank you, the live
ADM.
for subscribing for us, Prime. Thank you so much. Sorry, y'all, just thanking a subscriber.
How about kubeadm?
Literally kubeadm.
kubeadm. All right, cool. I didn't know if that like people would say kubeadmin or
I have
something.
never heard that referred to any other way than kubeadm.
Nice. Okay, and so the next ones are kind of, these are abbreviations or shortenings, if you will. And so K8S.
Either just pronounced out loud Kubernetes. Occasionally people will say Kates.
Kates, nice. And K3S?
Literally K3S.
K3S, nice. And K18N?
What?
K18N, Kubernetionalization is when you deploy Kubernetes across regions in different geos. So like US East 1, SA East 1, and I'm totally making this up right now. Did I sound believable?
I was like, okay, so like multi-region clusters. Okay. I was gonna roll with it, but yeah. I will say that, like,
right, well,
while we're on the like numerims or whatever those words are, it took embarrassingly long for me to figure out that A11Y was accessibility and not ally, which is just, I figured it was like a cute way for people to write it, and that's not actually what it means.
Right. Yeah. I also always see ally or think ally initially when I see A11Y, and then I'm like, oh, right, accessibility.
Right. That's what that means.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thank you for indulging us in our glossary run through of Kubernetes terms. Previously, we've had Kubernetes on here, and we're like, I don't know if I'm saying any of these correctly.
I am just going to take a second to squee about what is going on over on Silesian's screen, which Silesian is using Breakout the Box, which is my former coworker's container breakout program. And I don't know what they're doing, but I'm very excited to see this on here because whatever they're doing, it's going to be good.
Yes. Oh, it looks like it looks like Silesian's got a shell already. It looks like it's inside of a container. I'm just guessing based on the host name that's showing up there. And yeah.
Okay,
so
and there's a Drupal thing happening here because the user shell that this person has is www Drupal, but maybe in a container. And they're using Breakout the Box. They're doing, okay, so they're running Autopwn. Autopwn, it says you can read it, attempting to Autopwn looking for Docker socks. It didn't find the Docker sock. So now what they're doing is, what are they doing? They are just sort of trying to figure out what's going on, I think. Running, okay,
like
verbose Autopwn. Well, spoiler alert, it's not finding the thing that they're looking for, which means the Docker sock is probably then not exposed, which means there's probably another way in, I'm guessing. But it's fun to watch them try.
Yeah. And so is there, I'm not familiar with this particular tool, are there multiple payloads where, does Autopwn cover everything, or are there other ways to run it that they might be able to use it successfully currently?
There are other ways to run it. What they're doing right now is they were looking up data for their user in various, and it got found in various procs. Breakout the Box gets updated so often that I can't actually tell you what it does today because it's been a few weeks since I've looked at it. Chris is very on top of that one.
Nice.
I suspect there's something going on with the processes there, but that doesn't actually seem to be what they're doing. So it, like I said, it is interesting to watch them try. Yeah, not totally sure what they're doing right now. Looking at static tools for static binaries. Interesting.
Yeah, so I think the approach here is that Silesian is going to pull down a static statically compiled, statically linked copy of Nmap, and then port scan from inside the container and maybe look to pivot or move laterally, potentially to another container or a different pod. I'm not sure, what the setup is here.
There's
But
nothing in
that's my
here
guess.
that I have seen in looking at this person's screen that indicates that they are in a Kubernetes environment rather than just a container. So, ideally, maybe you try to escape the container and get out into the host, but they're moving very quickly and I am squinting at it. So it is a little bit hard to tell what's going on.
Yeah, we have trouble keeping up with some of these players because they're just typing a million words per minute. So
okay, they're in an AWS environment. So I think maybe. All
I think
right,
this is their CTF VPS. It looks like.
Okay.
So it looks like they pulled down this static build of Nmap onto their own, like their attack, their C2 basically onto their attack infrastructure.
Which, if you are a CTF player, is a completely acceptable thing to do, and if you are on an actual engagement, will get you shut down by the blue team immediately. Fair enough. There is an occupational hazard here of being a certain age and having the font this small.
Yeah, okay. I have a bigger monitor with the display so that I can see better.
Totally fair. Okay, so they're going to Nmap for a minute.
Yes.
I'm torn between wanting to watch whatever containery thing they're doing and going and looking at another player.
Yeah, if you want, feel free to bounce out and go check someone else, or stay here and I can bounce out and.
I'm gonna stay here and squint at it for a minute. Okay, they found Sun RPC on 111, which is not a terribly usual thing to find in a container. So I'm guessing probably there's something going on over there. Don't really know what. I don't know what that is off the top, but I'm sure it's something. Because one thing about CTFs is that everything is there on purpose.
Yes, usually.
Usually. There are occasionally features / bugs where people do not put in vulns on purpose, but generally speaking, you don't find an exposed service that is there by mistake.
Yeah, excellent point. Usually everything has a meaning.
See what's going on over
at, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wandering around looking at other people. B has something going on here. Something about Elliot was here. Not sure.
Yeah, I saw B had like a Metasploit loaded up, but I didn't catch what the payload was. I guess now it looks like they're running FUF for recon potentially, or they're about
I've never used FUF.
I like it. I liked past tense. I liked it. I was playing a CTF at the end of last year, running FUF. It's super fast, and it was missing a result based on the return code. So the next item that I needed to hit, the endpoint that I needed to hit, it was sending back like a 400 or something, which FUF was automatically filtering out. So I was going through all these word lists trying to figure out, what's the next thing that I need to go after. And then I switched over to GoBuster. GoBuster is IPSEC's go-to. And so I switched to GoBuster, and GoBuster immediately was like, oh, yep, here's your thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just wasted like so much time because I was using the wrong tool.
Who's taking advantage of the role of a narrator here on the Discord server and is just, jumping around the rooms, taking a look at the championship tonight. It's IPSEC.
Speaking of the devil.
WFuzz is my go-to. Big puffy heart WFuzz. You can pretty much make it do anything with the proper set of word lists and configuring it correctly. I think it's terribly underrated. Like, I never hear anybody talk it up for the most part, but I really, really like it. I heard that one of the newer versions of GoBuster gives it functionality that is closer to that of WFuzz, and at this point it's probably not that new anymore, but I'm so used to it that honestly, it works.
Just so y'all know,
Absolutely.
We already have 8 players in our scoreboard. So now we have Salesian, Waid, Mr. Gentleman, Pichu, João Ribeiro or John Rivers, Castilho, Eclipse Zero, and Mateus Pimentel. All of them with 100 points. So all of them got the easy flag. So if you want to take a look at the scoreboard with us, the link is in our chat and also in our screen, so you can keep up with everyone having points now. Almost all the players, and we're getting close to mid-game. We're 20 minutes away from mid-game.
So I am looking at Mr. Gentleman's screen right now, who is trying to upgrade a shell, I think on the same Drupal container that Salesian was on. Also has a tab open about Linux capability and GTFO bins, so I'm very excited to see what this person does.
Oh yeah, yep. There's that
all
same
my
shell.
favorite things at once.
Yeah, I love seeing the different ways that the players upgrade their shells. I think last week I had totally forgotten that you could use script to upgrade your shell, and I saw a player do it, and I was like, oh, that's right. I had totally blanked because I would always do like the Python PTY spawn.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Vi one. If you can find Vi or Vim on yours, if you can find one that is configured for it, I don't want to say properly exactly. That one's my favorite just because it's like just so neat.
Is that the one where you can just do : bang bash?
Yep.
Or is there more to it?
Then it just works. Yeah. I mean, I think there's one that says shell, depending on which kind you're using, but.
Yeah, excellent call. That was actually my first Privesk ever working at a job. But I was an intern, and they had given me this task of editing firewall configurations. And so I said, oh, I need escalated privileges to be able to edit these this basically as a bash script. And they were like, okay. And I was like, can you just give me like sudo to Vi? And they were like, sure. And I was like, root shell.
Beautiful.
And they're like, wait, what? No, you're supposed to just edit the files. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I can also do this. Oh yeah, and as you mentioned, GTFO bins, it's amazing. I love seeing all these different things that are published now to help people with hacking. I feel like when I started, the web was just not as rich in content, and maybe not as searchable either. And I spent a lot of time learning things the hard way by like breaking and failing and breaking again and failing some more, and then maybe getting lucky here and there. And it's amazing to me to see that people can pick up hacking, and it's such an open field, right? Like anybody can do it, and everybody belongs in it. Everybody should be able to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And there's nothing magical about it. It's logic, and it's learning and practice, and it's a skill that can be learned like any other one. Super stoked that Mr. Gentleman here is looking at capabilities because I'm a fan. Yeah.
I'm learning as we go.
That's awesome.
Lifebane here on chat asking if the sessions are located in a different channel. Yes, this is a private chat. This is a private server, private channel. As I spoke in the beginning of the championship, if you were not here, you cannot access the screens. You can only watch the screens here with us, since we only have access for the narrators. And apparently IPSEC that is taking advantage of the fact that he has been also a narrator, and he is watching it on the VIP lounge. But yes, you can only watch the player screens here with us.
Unless you're IPSEC, who's special.
MCOMI say IPSEC's creeping. Oh, also, I told y'all I was going to talk about the giveaways, and I think now it's a good time. We're going to have giveaways tonight at the end of the championship, so stay with us till the end, and you can get as prizes an OSCP training course, is the PWK, plus 30-day lab access to the OSCP training, plus the exam fee as well. So it is a $1,000 giveaway from Offensive Security, which is amazing. And you can also compete for a 1-month voucher access to Proving Grounds, also from Offensive Security. So we're going to have exclusive Offensive Security giveaways at the end of the stream, at the end of the championship tonight, for everyone that is in chat. So if you're there in the chat and you're watching us, you can compete. You don't have to do anything to enter the giveaway. Just stay with us. At the end, we're gonna raid to the Brazilian channel, and we're gonna do a giveaway there for everyone that's participating on the chat. So stay with us, and you might just you might just stay home because you're already home. I was gonna say you might just go home. You might just stay home with a nice new OSCP training there with you.
Yeah, super cool of Offensive Security to sponsor and provide that giveaway of the OSCP exam attempt plus the training material plus the 30 days of lab time. I think that's super amazing.
And then once you get that 30 days, it's cheaper to renew too if you need it.
Oh, right. Yeah, good call.
Oh, and by the way, B just got into the scoreboard with 100 points. So
nice.
Just so you know, finally B on the scoreboard.
I think B was being nice and giving people a head start, and now B is going to step on the gas pedal. And so, Ian, we were talking about kind of like getting started, and CTFs are like this amazing way to learn things on the go. What do you think about for getting started with Kubernetes and container security? Right, like in your advanced persistence threats talk, you mentioned that it's a steep learning curve now, or steeper than it was for people who started previously. But it doesn't mean that all security problems have been fixed. And you mentioned like some environments still run older versions of Kubernetes. So I think I've seen like some CTFs where they make vulnerable Kubernetes. There's like KubeGoat, there's like Bust2Kube. But what do you recommend for like starting point for people who are interested in Kubernetes security, container security, et cetera?
Okay, so to be honest, I'm going to give you a slightly different flavor than I think might have been the question that you asked. So the thing to know about Kubernetes security is that Kubernetes is made out of containers, and Kubernetes security is container security. And the thing to know about containers is that containers are actually just fancy Linux primitives. So container security is Linux security, and container security, because containers share resources with each other and with their hosts, container security is a kind of holistic thing where really container security is your containers are as secure as each other, as the applications that run on them, as your host, as even your silicon, as your Kubernetes environment. So there's lots of different ways in, which to me as an attacker is really fun because there's lots of things to play with. But point being, because I think that was kind of confusing to say, if you want to get started hacking Kubernetes, then I think there's an order of operations here, which is learn Linux, learn how Linux security works, learn how Linux system administration works, learn how to break Linux, privilege escalate in it, how to hack those things. Then at that point, actually, you'll be pretty well set up to go figure out how to hack containers because you'll have a lot of the background of Linux that you'll need to be able to hack containers well. And from there, once you understand Linux and containers, you can start to think about hacking and breaking container orchestrators or securing them, I guess, depending on which side you're coming from. And that will start to make a lot more sense because a lot of that learning curve isn't that a lot of this technology is new necessarily. Like a lot of this is the same old tech on the back end. It's just kind of like new wrappers for that old tech and new ways that it gets used. So the learning curve is if you are totally unfamiliar with Linux and how to break and hack Linux, and totally unfamiliar with containers and how to break those, that's going to be your learning curve, is like figuring out all of, and Kubernetes also involves networking and how to, hack network stacks and like various things that kind of go around that. So if you understand the kind of background information, the learning curve isn't going to be that high. The learning curve is going to be high if you have to learn all of those things at the same time. And that was where we were going in the talk with talking about, this is a lot harder than it used to be because it used to be that Kubernetes itself was so wide open that you could just go hack Kubernetes itself and have that be a pretty straightforward thing. And now a lot of those holes have been closed. So now you have to know things about Linux capabilities and how to exploit those and how to like deal with SE Linux or seccomp if you run into it or like those kinds of things and like kind of more low level stuff in order to be able to get the same kind of payoff that you might have just running something on Shodan. And then like as a a sort of baseline for people who are unfamiliar with old Kubernetes, you used to be able to run commands as root with an unauthenticated curl call. You can't do that anymore. And so there used to be very low-hanging fruit that was easily found, and it's not really there to be plucked anymore. So now you have to kind of learn more things around it. The good news around that is that if you learn all of that stuff, you're actually in really good shape to hack a lot of other stuff too, because a lot of hacking involves things like Linux privilege escalation, figuring out how to hack a network, like that kinds of thing. And so you'll actually be pretty well situated at that point to do any number of things, not just Kubernetes. That was an elaborate answer. There are also intentionally vulnerable Kubernetes environments, like Intadi said. There is KubeGoat is a really good one. There are various ones that are out there. There's more automated tools than there used to be, although not a ton of them. But yeah, a lot of it is just know how it works well. And that is skill and practice and learning. Read the hell out of the man pages, like read the docs. And that's the case with a lot of cloud native stuff is read the documentation a lot, because a lot of the time with cloud native stuff, it will just straight up tell you if something is insecure. It will be like, don't run this in production. Like this will cause insecure, unexpected behavior. And if you see something like that, then you know that like that is a thing to go look at. And I've heard people say that that sounds like a waste of time, but it isn't, because if they'll straight up tell you how to hack it, then you don't have to figure it out by trial and error. And that might not be a waste of time.
Yeah, definitely helpful finding those pointers. To me, it's similar to like grepping source code for swear words, right? And so those can be like pointers to potentially bad things. And especially it seems more straightforward if the documentation is telling you this is insecure. It's like, yes, okay, you should definitely dig around in here.
Do not use this in production. Like these defaults need to be changed. Like any kind of keywords like that, it's like,
All right, everyone,
Absolutely.
we have Salesian in first place now with 400 points. So he got the easy flag, he got the medium flag. We are still going into mid-game. We have a little bit more than 5 minutes to go into mid-game, and he already got the first 2 flags. He's going for the third one. So I don't know how long he's gonna take to get the last flag. I think we're gonna have an early night tonight, an early match, which is good for y'all in the chat, because you're then closer to the offensive security giveaway at the end.
Yeah, you only have to sit through an hour of us potentially to get your OSCP. Yeah, I saw Salesian firing off some kind of it looked like a shell shock payload again, but I didn't see it really hit or do anything major. And Ian, I really liked your point about how previously you could do these like unauthenticated, curl like HTTP requests and run things as root. And then I especially enjoyed that in your talk where you said like, oh, we'll just change the configuration so that we can do that again. And so then you can still like do the exec and still get that to fire, which I thought was amazing.
Thank you. That one was my baby. I'm glad you liked it.
Excellent.
Yeah, the dynamic configurations definitely lend for some interesting possibilities. And it's, and that talk, I think part of what we were trying to demonstrate there was that if you understand Kubernetes really well, then you are creative and imaginative, then you can figure out the ways that just like, features can be misused. And I think that's a really important thing to think about hacking in general. And for me, I mean, I guess I come from a different place than a lot of folks in some ways, but I want to think about how the features can be misused. I think Brad and I have a lot in common in that way of like, okay, if you know how to use it as a defender or as an operator, how could you use this for nefarious purposes? And like, to me, that's super fun to figure those kinds of things out.
Definitely. And it's been something that retroactively, I wish I would have had more understanding of cloud environments. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a red team operation, hacking something in AWS, but treating it as a traditional network setup, right? Where I'm like moving through EC2 instances or whatever, where initially, if I just, from my first foothold, if I just been like, I will take access creds now, and then I could have looted the entire environment and been done so quickly. So 100% to your point of having a better understanding of what you're targeting so that you can use features in ways that they may not have been intended.
Yeah, it's really nice it's less of an issue in CTFs. In CTFs, it doesn't matter how loud you are, but if you're on an engagement, it's nice to be able to do that too, because if you can use it in ways that just look like normal traffic, then you're less likely to get caught.
Absolutely.
Apparently there's some technical issues going on with the UHC CTF. That's why the players keep going back to the Solution is now enjoying a nice Spotify playlist. That's why the players keep going back to the Discord room here. It's the general room, chat room, where we are the staff is communicating with them and trying to solve the technical issue. So we should be back online in a few minutes. Kids are just now watching videos on YouTube. We're gonna get copyright striked.
Yeah, it's always tough when the infrastructure goes down in the middle of the CTF.
I mean, we've all been there.
Definitely. Sometimes we would intentionally take the scoreboard down, but then we could claim that was intentional as opposed to it being something going wrong.
I think every CTF I've been to has had somebody who tried to get cute with ARP poisoning or ARP spoofing and then gotten yelled at by the organizers.
Absolutely. I remember a 2600. I ran like a web application CTF, and one of the people there, they were doing like ARP spoofing and deauthing off of the Wi-Fi, and one of the players did not take kindly to that. Which, I mean, it's out of the scope. Like we're there to do web app stuff. Like focus on playing the game, but also hackers are going to hack.
Yeah, there is a question in the chat from Miss USQ about why don't we see more Windows Active Directory hacking CTFs, and what about cloud hacking? I will say, as somebody who does not really do anything with Windows at all, I see Windows Active Directory hacking CTFs all the time. And maybe it is just that I am not looking for them. But I know that there are AD environments on Hack the Box that you can do things with, and I think they're sort of around. Cloud hacking ones, you might enjoy flaws.cloud and I think flaws2.cloud. Those ones are fun ones for AWS. GCP actually has a CTF that is theirs that is basically a kind of bug bounty thing where they have a thing where they're like, come hack on us. It is not intentionally vulnerable. So you're really just sort of hacking on the server that they have given you permission to hack on, but that is an option if you're looking to do GCP hacking. Microsoft, anything, honestly, I have no idea.
Yeah, I also had very little Windows hacking experience, and so I bought a Hack the Box VIP subscription so that I could go do Windows boxes and get experience with those, because I don't know how to set up Active Directory. I don't know, what a Windows environment normally looks like. I've just never operated in those, and so Hack the Box was really good. Flaws was amazing for learning AWS stuff. I think the Rhino Security Labs folks, they published some CloudGoat things. And so using their tooling to work through the CloudGoat scenarios was really cool. Although I don't use Paku or CCAT much, but it was really fun to use it and look at what was happening under the hood. I'm always amazed with AWS environments where you can set up CloudTrail to catch pretty much all of the APIs in the environment, and you can do it in a way that you can protect if you have like centralized aggregated logging, you can protect that bucket where the CloudTrails are ending up. And so the fact that you've got this like full audit log essentially of what's been done in the environment that can't be this like essentially immutable is amazing to me.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, just a nice reminder to everyone in chat, you can also buy stuff from the Twitch store. So here on the Twitch channel, you can find the Twitch store on UHC. You can tip for us to read your message out loud or to send us questions. You can subscribe into Prime here on the Twitch channel of UHC. You can donate. You can buy stuff from the store with Twitch points as well if you don't have any money. On the Twitch store, you can medal with the scoreboard. You can bring the scoreboard down, which maybe we won't have time to see because Silesian is probably gonna win this before we can say anything.
I am watching Silesian's screen right now, and the hint on the insane challenge is you can't escape from jail, which gives me some immediate ideas as to what one might be able to do in these situations. So I'm interested. I'll probably stay on this one for a minute. I'm interested to see how he goes about doing this one.
We are also watching Silesian's screen here on the live stream, right? The broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been sort of like floating around looking at what everyone else is doing because I'm nosy, but if there is escaping from jail happening, I'm gonna hang out here for a minute.
So in the Twitch store, you can buy time off the scoreboard. You can bring the scoreboard offline for like 10 to 15 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. You can buy some specific players' screen time for us to show the player's screen time that you want. You can do all kinds of stuff to medal with the CTF strategy itself, because if you bring down, maybe your favorite player gets to win, or you can help one of the players that wants to come and sneak up to the top. Same thing with the screen players, the player screen time. Anyway, you can have your fun there. Steph is telling me that is picture time for us, y'all.
Dope.
So now we do something cute for the camera or something crazy for the camera, whatever the fuck we want. Y'all in the chat, if you want to print the screen and add us in Twitter or Instagram, then now it's your time. All right, that's it. Back to CTF. Time to Photoshop. Yes, please.
Time to Photoshop.
I'm
you
sure
make
I
me
was
look
making
more
a really
handsome,
silly
please?
face for all of those. So.
Yeah, it's UHC. We can't take it too seriously.
I mean, I never take myself seriously anyhow. So
Hacking is serious business, but UHC is fun in games.
serious business.
All right. It looks like it seems like the infrastructure is still down. I guess it seems like Silesian's connection is not finishing.
What Minesweeper thing is B doing right now?
That's a good question.
Are they literally playing
Let's jump
Minesweeper?
over. Quite possibly. We had players play chess during the stream.
That is true.
Yeah, that definitely looks like Minesweeper.
All right, can't argue with that.
I don't think I have it published, but I think when I wanted to learn DLL like function hooking, I wrote like a library that would you could load Minesweeper and then it would load the library and then mark all of the flags for you.
Just so you know, in this meanwhile.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you say it. I don't know how you say this, but Mr. Gentleman just sneaked into the top, and now it is now in second place, right behind Silesian, also with 400 points.
Oh, nice.
So the newcomer is coming for the prize. He is coming for Silesian.
Excellent. Yeah, it looks like I just saw it briefly on Mr. Gentleman's screen. They had burp up, and then it looked like they were setting up a reverse shell payload in the user agent field for the HTTP request and loading or running that through shell shock. And I think betting is still open in the chat, although kind of hard to tell, what's going to happen now with the infrastructure being down. But you can definitely still bet in the chat. I just bet on Silesian because YOLO. And yeah, they've got the listener up for port 9001. I don't know if that's a hat tip to IPSec. I always see IPSec do port 9001 for shells and connections on his Hack the Box videos. Let's see. B was playing Minesweeper. Waid was also in second place just up until recently. Oh, nice.
You can see it actually if you go to Wade's thing. Echo UHC, new extremely critical vulnerability affects all Linux systems using a shell.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah, so they're starting up their reverse TCP handler here.
Does that get us to 3 players with 2 flags?
I'm not sure if that was flag 0 or flag 1.
Right. Yeah, I think it would be the initial flag 0, if we're starting our counting correctly.
Mateus P also appears to be doing shell shock things.
Nice.
I literally cannot see what the person whose name you cannot pronounce is doing because that font is too small. So I'm going to move on.
I'm going to check in on Castillo and see what they're up to. Castillo also looking at some shell shock payloads, and they look like they're pretty close actually to getting this flag as well. Or at least figuring out to put the payload in the user agent field.
Salesian is doing something involving Chisel, which I am going to admit that I have not used, and so I'm not quite sure what they're doing.
Oh, nice. I'm a big fan of Chisel. I use it for tunneling. You can set up a SOX tunnel like as a SOX proxy if you want. Really flexible. It's written in Golang, so you can build it for pretty much any target. And yeah, yeah, it looks like they are setting up a tunnel to connect to port 8000 outward. So they've got a listener somewhere on port 8000. And then it looks like they were setting it up for SOX, but I missed and they switched tabs. So Ian, when you do find time to play CTFs, I know we were talking about Linux distributions earlier. Do you have a favorite one? Do you like custom build off of something basic like Ubuntu Server or Debian or something like that?
I'm a big fan of Debian. It's got my name on it.
Yes.
I mean, it works. And, I think there's a lot of sort of people have a lot of feelings about their favorite Linux distributions, but it's the one I'm used to. Sometimes I will install Kali rolling stuff on it. A lot of the time I have containers of like container and Kubernetes tools. So I'll pull down that image and use that. But yeah, if I'm just using just like a Linux distro, Debian is, I think, the way to go. I have used Kali. I used it when I took the OSCP, and I'm not actually sure I've used it since, but I did use it there.
Yeah, I mainly use Kali when I'm doing like Hack the Box or I don't know, like those types of CTFs. But then otherwise I've got, my own VM build of just random tools. It's based on Debian. And I have like a couple Docker files that I've built out that kind of install some things, but it seems so heavy handed to run several tools in one Docker container. So usually I just have like a VM that I run stuff from.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing for people who are watching and learning is, use what makes sense to you for the problems that you're trying to solve. And as you get more practice, sometimes those things become more clear, One thing about Kali in my experience, or really in general, is that people will be like, how to pen test? Here is this giant contextless list of tool names. And they'll do really different things for different reasons. And you maybe will use some of them on a pen test and not other ones, depending on the environment. And generally know what your tools do and how they work. And then I think a lot kind of makes more sense from there.
For sure. InfoSec, is such a wide field. And so you can't encapsulate everything into one massive listing of like, here's how to hack. And my approach has always been to try to focus on one particular problem set, right? Like I want to learn server-side request forgery. So, how does it work? What is actually happening? What's the tooling that's already there? Can I make my own that's better? How do I find these bugs and then, quickly hit them? And what are like good payloads and stuff like that? But then like I go to a point where I'm like, okay, I feel like I've learned enough about what I set out to learn, move on to the next thing. And then that way and also I keep notes on like everything, because otherwise in like a year from then, at that time I'll be like, oh yeah, what did I learn about SSRF again? And then I'll, start from scratch.
The struggle is real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
We're being told that the CTF is back. So fingers crossed, everybody. We will see some cool things happen. That looks promising. I saw a flag.txt there. Maybe that was the medium flag. But it looks like, okay, yeah. So root shell back on that Drupal instance, we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Do you see anything in that proc listing that jumps out to you?
CD Docker. Possibly. That's an unhelpful answer, but it would depend what would be in there.
Right. Yeah. I got to dig into some of the directories.
I still think that open port 111 seems significant. I haven't seen anything else going on with it, and it keeps being there. If I haven't really seen this person chase it, and this person seems to be doing fine without my bad advice anyway, but I would be curious about that. It does seem like there's a flag.txt there though, so maybe that's the one they already had.
I wonder. I think it's one that they already had. It would be my guess. I'm guessing it's the medium flag. I wonder. I can't tell you how many Nmap results that I've seen where 111 is opening, but it doesn't get used in the case of the system that I'm targeting. So I'm wondering if maybe Selesian sees this 111 is open, but automatically is filtering it because in previous experiences, it is not a factor in their path to success.
Fair enough. Just, because I spend a non-zero amount of time in containers, it's not something you see very often in these environments in my experience. So that would be the thing that I would jump on, because I'm like, what the hell is this? Why is this here? But there's, a lot of CTF stuff is always pattern recognition and what we have seen before in previous experiences. So.
And that I always like that saying of like, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, or whatever it is, right? So if Selesian has expertise or has particularly strong skills in one area that might cause bias to pursue those paths or look for those kinds of problems.
Totally. I mean, we all do.
I always have to catch myself, like with AWS stuff, I always try to do everything in like SCPs, right? And so I'm like, oh, can I put in a preventive control as a service control policy? But then I have to catch myself like, is that really the best solution here? Could I do this? Like, would a resource policy be better in this case or something?
That makes sense.
All right, so Selesian's running Nmap. Why don't we go check in on somebody else? Mr. Gentleman was in.
I was going to say, I'm going to go peek at Mr. Gentleman.
Nice.
Docker breakout. Okay, what are you up to?
Yeah, Hacktricks, one of my favorite sites.
I don't think I've ever seen Hacktricks. Neat.
It's a nice collection of assorted techniques, and basically kind of like an aggregation where they'll take content out of posts and then like link to them. So not really enough if you don't know exactly what you're looking for. Sometimes if you like just copy and paste, it may not work. But they've got the links as like to the original posts that have more context and details around the situation.
Makes sense.
And yeah, it looks like Mr. Gentleman in the same setup here as Selesian, or at least same
spot, but not maybe a little farther behind because they're not doing anything with Chisel or anything like that.
Yeah, good point. But they do have that. They've got that root shell, and then it looks like they're also using a separate VPS for their attack infrastructure. So
is it maybe the same root shell?
I think so. Maybe the ID on the host name might be different, but it looked like their vantage point was the same as Salesian's. It's that root at Drupal dash dep dash some hexadecimal string.
I see. I just totally misread that. My bad for squinting.
Oh yeah. No, is that it's like, you know, running tmux and then having a bunch of different panes and keeping track of what's where. So yeah, it looks like they're taking the same approach that Salesian was, pulling a statically linked nmap down onto the system so that they can run it, moving nmap to .nm so that it doesn't show up in a regular file listing.
Mr. Gentleman was looking at a specific CVE, and it is not one that I know the number of off the top, although it is probably one that I have encountered. So interested to see what they end up doing with that.
It looks like they do have the full TTY working with the shell though, so that's good. I saw SOCAT higher up and the pane above, so it looks like they use SOCAT to get their TTY or their shell fixed up.
2019 57 something.
Oh yeah, I see that.
I'm actually a fan of vuln naming, if only so that we can have a common understanding that it is shell shock and not whatever CVE number shell shock even is. I don't know it off the top.
2014 5673. No.
I can tell you about, you know, CVE, you know, 2019 11253, but
yeah, that is a good point on like the canonical naming for easier recognition of what we're actually talking about.
Yeah, like, you know, if they're ones that we have spent more time with, sometimes we'll memorize them anyway, but I've cleared entire rooms at parties by talking about 2018 1008 105 before.
I'm just waiting for people to reach out to me to ask to use dual core music in their new bug that they're going to drop, their new exploit, right? Like, how much cooler would Shell Shock have been, or Meltdown or Spectre, if it had some dual core music in there? It would have been like way better, I think.
Honestly, there was that one that had a song. I don't remember which one it was. Totally blanking on it. But there was one recently that had like a song, like a MIDI file in the thing with the ASCII art.
Nice. Taking it back old school, right?
Yeah.
When you used to get like keygens and stuff, and they had like MIDI files playing.
Sometimes they were pretty good.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have like I'm sure on some drive here, I have a collection of keygen music and maybe some keygens. Can't be sure on that one.
Oh, what are you doing?
Let's see. So we're watching Mr. Gentleman, and Ian, I see that you're checking out Salesian. How's Salesian looking on your side of the screen?
deepce.sh to try to figure out some container breakout stuff, and are not actually totally sure what they're doing with it right now.
Here it looks like the build of Nmap that Mr. Gentleman has is having some issues running. I saw a live PCAP issue previously, and now I'm seeing something about not being able to initialize the scripting engine for Nmap. But I guess now they got it going, it looks like. So maybe they just needed to take out, they needed to take out the SV, the service verification, I think, flag. But they did see 22 and 111 open here, and they found the hostname kubernetes.default.service.cluster.local.
Nice.
So that looks promising.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go look over here.
So yeah, let's see if they start going after this port 111 then. I don't know if anybody has compromised any credentials yet, but you know, if you've got root inside the container, if there's like a shadow file or something like that, maybe there's like a quick crack on the shadow file, and then SSH is open. So maybe you SSH with those same credentials to get out of the container. I don't know.
Is this a thing that you have tried?
I have seen in CTFs, I've seen people set up where you can have credential reuse that will get you out of the container.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know if that is the case here or not. I think in the past, I don't think we've seen a credential reuse be used for any of the flags in UHC. I think they've all been like a legit, exploit, or you have to find something in a config file. But I don't think I've ever seen UHC where there's a cred reuse that gets you another flag somewhere.
I've never seen that in the wild, but yeah, fair enough. Things that are in the wild are not necessarily the same as things in CTS.
Exactly. Yeah, you kind of get some contrived scenarios from time to time in CTF. Yeah, let's see. I'm with you, Ian. I want to see people poke at this 111.
Oh,
yeah.
What
do you see?
Wait a minute. Okay, so 2 updates, very important updates. Bigos is now on the scoreboard, so we have officially all the players in the scoreboard, and B just got the second flag as well, and is now with 400 points in 3rd place. So Silesian first place, Mr. Gentleman, the newcomer, coming with 400 points as well, 2nd place, and B now with 400 points on 3rd place. We have 2 big-time winners here, Silesian and B in 2nd place, running for the last flag, and a newcomer in between them with also 400 points. And we are now officially entering the mid-game. We're like an hour and a half in the CTF with already 2 big players and a newcomer going for the root flag. This is very nice, y'all.
Excellent. I'm looking at B's screen, and B is looking up a bunch of things on Kubernetes pen test methodology and ways to attack Kubernetes. And previously, B had a list of ports and services that you would find in a Kubernetes environment, like 10250 and other ports for like kubeproxy and stuff. So yeah, we're learning to hack Kubernetes on the fly here, I think.
All right.
And so looks like they're going to use Netcat to do basically a port scan. I don't know if that'll expand the 1-1000 if Netcat expands that or not. Using wget to check for API endpoints.
Yeah, fair enough.
Lazy Eye of Sauron. Thank you for subscribing to us, Prime. Also, love your nickname.
Ian, what's if you were in B's position right now and you're looking at API, which Kubernetes API would you start with?
Well, what they're doing right now is looking at the kubelet API, and I guess I said that nobody says kube, and I just did, so I'm contradicting myself here. That API is undocumented, and I'm actually really curious as to whether SIG-CLI knows that this particular website exists, and I'm going to ask them when we get off the phone. But anyway, they are doing whatever this website documented in relation to the kubelet API, which is not officially documented, to try to, not totally sure what they're trying to do, exploit it. It's enumerate first, I'm guessing, but then yes, I would they're using
8559?
Huh, okay. I am interested to see how they're going to do this. I will hold my thought on it.
And yeah, looks like B pulling up Chisel as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, 855. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm gonna sit on it for a minute.
Dragoon Smurf in the in the chat saying, I'd be so nervous having the kube expert watching me Google how to kube.
No, it's totally great. I'm excited to see people learn. And I'm excited to see people do cool stuff. And in some cases, I'm fairly sure they're going to be teaching some of the Kubernetes maintainers a thing or two. So
nice. I'm just always grateful to be on this side of the screen hosting as opposed to showing people how bad I am at CTF.
I would stress out about typoing, I think, like I'm like, oh no, I spelled clear wrong. Everybody knows that I'm a fraud,
It's the
Everybody knows that
good old imposter syndrome, right? It's just this. I think Hipsec was the one who said, I think this is amazing, actually, that these kids are playing and they're showing their process, their thought process, and they're showing their mistakes. You yourself, Intady, was the one that told me that you would like to see Ipsec's videos because the process is there, even the mistakes are there, and that's the good thing to see. Like, that's actual hacking. And I don't get why you keep repeating on like, oh no, I'm glad I'm narrating and not playing, because that's just reinforcing the imposter syndrome, right? Everyone watching, you can also play. We don't have this huge CTF player going on. I mean, Mr. Gentleman is someone that we've never heard till now, and he's in second place right there with Silesian, and he's a 4-time player winner Silesian. So just go out there and make mistakes. That's the cool thing about learning. If you don't make mistakes, you don't learn.
That's super real.
Yes, the Adventure Time quote, right, is sucking at something is the first step to being awesome at something.
It's 100% true.
All right, thank you, Johnny Siaka, for subscribing to us. Prime, Johnny is also from DC 5511, the DEFCON group from Sao Paulo, which I'm also a staff. So shout out to DEFCON groups out there watching us as well.
Obrigado.
Mr. Gentleman is looking up Kubernetes pen test methodology.
Nice. Yeah, I think if anything, UHC shows what hacking looks like, and that it's a lot of looking things up.
Oh, Silesian is going hard here. Got the surface account token. They've got our yeah. They're listing out the secrets. All right, yeah, they're doing very well here.
Nice. And so let's see, with the secrets, that do you usually see secrets that that are stored in Kubernetes setups that will then get you out of the container?
It depends, because it depends on the way that the RBAC is set up and what kind of admission control they're using, and if they're using node restriction or not. In some cases, it will. It really depends. It gets sort of unexciting to say on a screen, but sometimes if the RBAC is wide open, it can get you all kinds of places. Sometimes if the RBAC is really locked down, it can get you not a whole lot. It really depends. It seems, though, from what I can tell, though, that they're getting privileged service tokens, in which case they're very, very close to being able to get this thing.
Yes. Yeah. If I see a bunch of base 64 on the screen, I'm usually happy.
Well, and they're getting the cloud native data. It looks like they're going very quickly, and I'm squinting at it, but they're doing pretty good.
And just to confirm, it is kubectl.
Well, it depends who you ask, or kube control, or kube cuddle. It does, whatever.
Well, for the people that are actually right, it's no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, sweet. The Kubernetes stuff that I've done has mostly just been pulling secrets out of things. So yeah, if I can pull secrets and get access keys or certificates or whatever, I'm usually pretty happy.
What are you doing? I shouldn't say that out loud, huh?
No, that's okay.
Sorry, it was awkward.
No, that's me asking myself while I play CTF, what am I doing?
Well, and you're sort of trying to, when you're watching other people do this, you're sort of trying to reverse engineer their thought process, right? So like, I'm like, okay, yeah. I see it. Wait, where are you going with that? Oh, interesting. Okay, so, Oh, fair enough. They're trying to figure out what to do with the service account token.
And yeah, I guess my thought here would be that there's maybe, I don't know if there's maybe some other service to communicate with or something, but there's got to be some way out of the container onto the host, and then the host will likely have the root flag, like the
That
final
seems,
flag.
for the purposes of escaping from jail, that seems reasonably likely. Yeah, that's not always the case, but in this case, probably. And there are definitely known ways out involving privileged service accounts tokens, so I can kind of guess how they might have built this out. I'm excited to see whether or not I'm guessing correctly.
I definitely think there's a legitimate aspect of metagaming inside of CTF and thinking about how the challenge authors will construct the challenge so that you
Always.
don't go down the wrong rabbit hole.
Yeah, and it's, you know, and some CTFs, depending on kind of how they're built and who's writing them, sometimes the only way to solve them is trying to figure out how that person would think if you know how they're writing, you know. It's like, okay, if you know this person, what would this person do if they thought they were being clever, you know? But that's like metagaming.
Yes. Too much Inception. Let's see.
Are they going to, is this gonna work?
It looks like this running this get services is requesting a separate set of credentials. I don't know if they have credentials. So I would feel like, to me, if I was going for something that was asking me for, you know, a username and password, but I don't have any, that might not be the right path to pursue.
Yeah.
All right, for everyone out there, just remembering everyone in the chat, if you stay with us till the end, we're gonna raid the Brazilian channel, and there we're gonna go through the walkthrough of all the challenges, not only with the winner, but with the machine developer as well. Today was Magno. I told could do at the beginning, but Magno was one of the Brazilian commentators there in the other stream, and there's gonna be exclusive offensive security giveaways at the end of the night when we raid to the other channel. You don't have to do nothing. You just stay with us in the chat, and you can get in KWP course training for OSCP plus 30 days lab access plus the OSCP exam fee. So it's a $1,000 giveaway from Offensive Security itself. Not only that, but there's also another giveaway that's going to happen at the end, which is a 1-month voucher access for Proving Grounds, also from Offensive Security. You don't have to do nothing. Just stay with us till the end and raid with us to the Brazilian channel so we can interview the winner and also do the Offensive Security giveaways.
Yeah, and I think I saw Johnny in the chat mention about having to post in the chat once we make it over to the Brazilian Twitch, which I think you will have to do something like !sorteo or something like that, but we'll figure it out when we get there. Just stay with us, and
when
we'll get it sorted.
Yeah, when we get there, you can start spamming the chat. But right now, it doesn't mean anything if you do the command for the giveaway, because we're doing that on their channel at the end of the stream. We're not doing that right now.
I'm so anxious watching Silesian. I'm like, come on, you're almost there.
I'm watching B, and actually B is going a different direction, and I'm really interested to see what they're doing with it, because that B is pen testing Weaveworks, which is there is a specific CNI, which is Container Network Interface, that is Weave, that listens on a specific port, and I assume that this person found something like some Weave thing that was listening on that port and is going to go through the kubelet to do whatever on Weave, which this is new to me, so that's pretty cool. And is definitely a different route than Silesian, who is going a more, I would say, sort of standard route.
Nice. We did use Weaveworks in, I think, the finale for last year.
Nice.
There was some bug that they had in their setup that allowed you to get one of the flags, and so quite possibly it's not the same bug, but using the same platform again.
Yeah, no, I mean, Weave is that is not the thing that I was like, huh, at. It's going through the kubelet specifically in order to hack it that I'm like, this is an interesting route. Like, cool. Let's see what they do with it.
Nice. And so a pod is a collection of one or more containers. And so
Yes.
what is a kubelet exactly?
Okay, so if this would be easier if I was holding an architecture diagram and showing it to
Yes.
you and pointing at things, but basically, Kubernetes itself has a control plane node, which used to be called the master node, and worker nodes. The pods live in the worker nodes. The control plane node has in it the scheduler, controller manager, and the parts that are basically like dictating what is going to be happening in the worker nodes, scheduling them, spinning them up, making sure they're healthy. The kubelet is an API that is largely, apparently not entirely, undocumented. The kubelet is basically sort of the brains of the operation that sort of dictates what is going to be happening in the worker nodes. So yeah, like I said, when you watched the advanced persistence threats talk, that last exploit was the exploit on the kubelet, which was the kind of first splashiest Kubernetes exploit out there, which is long dead at this point, although there are clearly still interesting things that can be done with the kubelet. So excited to see this one.
Very cool. Thank you for the rundown.
Yeah, does that make any sense?
Definitely, yep.
Cool.
And I would claim that I was asking for the folks watching that may not be familiar with Kubernetes, but in reality, I also did not know.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's one of the sort of it's dictating what's going on, as opposed to etcd, which is storing state as to what it is going on. And an important thing to know about etcd is that you can also write to it because it's a loosely coupled distributed system, and so you can do things like that, which means you can manipulate state if you can write to etcd.
Yeah, that seems like a valuable write primitive to have.
It's kind of cool. Oh gosh, what are you doing over there?
Right now, we're broadcasting Mr. Gentleman's screen, and I think they are confirming that their chisel tunnel was set up correctly. Looks like they're connecting on port 80. And then I guess they're going to try to shovel commands through this tunnel and hit something on the other side.
I went off of B's screen for 2 seconds to go look at you, and now there's PowerShell happening. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, B was operating with a Windows host, right?
I got nothing. Yeah, nothing to say about that one.
But I guess you can do PowerShell inside of Linux as well.
Can you?
Which I think is cool. Yep.
That is cool.
Yeah, I've got it installed in a Kali VM. And then you've also got the Windows subsystem for Linux. So it's pretty much like everything wherever you want, I feel like at this point.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, PowerShell core. There it is.
Yeah, and now B is looking at the kubectl help file to, I guess, try to figure out what to do with it.
According to MCOMI, he saw something on Gentleman's screen about using tokens for authentication. So it is time to yell at the screen, apparently.
Yeah, so when I was talking about service account tokens, that is a thing that you can do. And if you have your RBAC locked up properly, you're not going to be able to do that in the way that you used to be able to, because it used to be kind of your ticket to anywhere, and now it is not so much unless the person who is administrating the cluster fucked up the RBAC. However, because we are talking, excuse my language, because we are on a CTF here, it is entirely possible that they did that on purpose. So.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if that was the path up to the next or the final flag. And I did see Mr. Gentleman pulled down kubectl onto their attack platform. So
and I believe Celestian have also done that.
Nice.
That's why everybody's looking up the cheat sheets and the help files and everything else.
Yes. And bash completion, which is also always nice to have. So yeah, there's the chisel tunnel. So it looks like the listener's on 1337 and then connected to 80 on either side of the tunnel. But it looks like they just bailed out of the tunnel, maybe. So yeah, all right, here we go. Inside the container, they've got root. And so looks like they're going to try maybe to pull down kubectl into the container, potentially. I don't know.
Oh,
Just guessing.
Is getting more secrets out here and is what are they doing? I wasn't looking for a minute. Something with CRDs? Huh. Yeah, Solution listing out resources, it seems like.
Got it. Yeah,
I'm not
there's
sure.
there are the Docker images. Oh, okay. So I wonder, would you in this situation with it knowing it's a CTF, would you maybe go look at that particular Docker image and maybe see like, can you find the Docker file and look at like what's built into that?
Probably, it's a little, because I looked away for a minute, it's a little hard to tell what they're doing right now. Are they just listing out all of the things? It seems like they are just listing out all of the things. Probably the first thing I would do would be to look at env, because it's a CTF and occasionally people will drop things in environment variables that are useful. The second thing I would do, what is this? Would be to see anything that looks like an anomaly, which the thing that I just made a face at looks vaguely anomaly-ish. So I might go, just try to see what doesn't look like it would normally be there and then go look into those. I don't actually know what was going on with this thing, so.
It looked like kind of a pagination thing where like maybe there was more data to be dumped out, but it was truncated and you needed to pass like a continue or like a next pin or something like that.
They've been figuring out how to list large amounts of resources. Frankly, I would just pipe it into less, but not totally sure what trouble they're running into because I wasn't looking for a minute.
Yeah. But it looks like they did get access to the bearer token, which appears to be stored on the file system.
I mean, they're very close. Yeah,
here we go.
Moments of tension, y'all.
Getting context around the results. And I guess I'm going to guess this is EKS because it's saying US West 2 for AWS.
This is absolutely EKS.
Nice.
Okay.
Do you happen to know like what does detection look like for Kubernetes on a big cloud platform like EKS or GKE? Like I know that there's like Falco and there's like Sysdig and stuff. Is that something that people who use the service like where does that fall in the shared responsibility model if you want like observability into your containers?
That's going to that's a complicated question. That is going to depend widely on the way that you are setting up your stuff. There is like real widely. It depends. Yep. I'm like,
no worries.
Yeah,
ask a broad question, get a broad answer.
Yeah. I'm like any detail that I give, I feel like is going to skirt an NDA somewhere. So I'm going to say it depends. Falco is a useful thing. Cilium is a CNI that can be chained with other CNIs that is incredibly useful and can actually stop things from happening, which Falco actually can't. Falco can just report on them. So there's a few different things that you can use that are super useful. There are also sort of like every public cloud has its thing. Like there is an equivalent of CloudTrail that GKE has that is Stack Driver. So you can kind of use those in combination with each other, and that's just really going to depend on how you architect your infra.
Nice.
Sweet mother of God. The scoreboard is down. Someone found wise to spend their Twitch points now to bring the scoreboard offline for around 10 to 15 minutes, while Salesian, Mr. Gentleman, and B are so close to getting the root flag. Damn it! This is torture. That was kind of a dick move.
Man, I cannot read B's screen at all. Can you read
I'm checking
that?
in on Waid. Yeah, I'll go look at B. Let's see. I was just checking in on Waid because Waid is sneaky, and they'll sometimes like pop up out of nowhere with like extra progress where you didn't expect it. Let's see. I'm looking at B. B's got. I'm seeing currently just the chisel cheat sheet up from OXDF.
Waid is somewhat behind, I think. They're doing kubectl options and looking that up, but it seems like maybe they still have a user shell. However, they did just get the token. So you could be right. They could be sneaky.
Oh yeah, because that's the thing some players do here on UHC. Even though it is a short amount of time, 3 hours is a short amount of time for CTFs around there, around the world. Usually CTFs last for days. Even though it is a short amount of time, and they're under a lot of pressure, and the first one to score has advantage. So even having the same score on the scoreboard doesn't mean you're tied, because the person who submitted first has the advantage. Even with all of that, there are some confident players who sit on flags and wait till the last second to actually submit them and, steal the championship. It's just Afonso is a player who usually does that, but apparently maybe Waid is now sitting on flags, maybe? I don't know.
I think Waid is trying to figure out how to make this HTTP request to Kubernetes. Looks like they're having initially that first error message. It had just like a small tail of the base 64, I guess the bearer token. And so my thought was that maybe there was just a copy paste error where there was like a new line that got injected somewhere, but it didn't, show up in the terminal. So that was my initial guess, but it looks like they're going in a different direction now. So
back over in Salesian land, they're trying to figure out kubectl, it looks like. What's B up to?
B, it looks like, is having some proxy chains issues, but is currently searching for Kubernetes escape something and 6783, which I did not catch what service listens on that port.
Weave.
Okay.
And Mr. Gentleman is looking up kubeprivex in general, just methodology. Nice.
I feel like it is potentially anyone's game. I think Salesian is further along, but seems to be kind of hitting a wall. And I definitely think that B or Mr. Gentleman or maybe even Waid could turn the corner very quickly. And it would be hilarious if we enabled the scoreboard when the time, the temporary period ran out and somebody had already won.
Agreed.
Oh, scoreboard is actually back, y'all.
Oh, okay. Right. When I worked at Salesforce, we would run a CTF at ShakaCon, and we would turn off the scoreboard at the end, and it would enrage the players to no end. It was always super fun.
You also used to work at Salesforce.
Yep, 3.5 years.
Fun.
Yeah, fun times. A lot of good experiences on the red team there, and then there was a DEF CON where
you're one of those.
Where bad things happened to the red team. Yep.
All right, I heard about you.
Oh boy.
Anywho,
Me?
nothing mean.
Okay.
MC Oh My says, shout out to Tabby for that Kubernetes CTF challenge, and they think they see what to do in this challenge because of it, and I am not going to spoil anything, but yes, shout out to Tabitha Sable and the other folks who worked on that. You are looking for securekubernetes.com. The challenge is still up, and it is damn good.
Oh, nice. I want to check that out.
Tabby is my,
SecureKubernetes.com, you say?
yeah.
Sorry.
Tabby is my co-chair of Kubernetes security. So shout out forever. Oh, what is going on over here? Oh, they found Weave too. Neat. Okay. So I think we're looking at a Weave thing here.
It definitely appears to be heading that direction. Maybe we've just missed it on the screens. I'm surprised that we haven't seen people just searching for like, you know, Weave exploit or Weaveworks exploit or something like that.
I believe that, I can't remember if it's B or Mr. Gentleman who's been on that for a hot minute, but it's one of them. I think it might be Mr. Gentleman.
Just so you know, Pichu is now also with 400 points. So he joins the leaders on the scoreboard. So Silesian still first with 400, followed by Mr. Gentleman, the newcomer. B, a veteran winner already, a 3 times winner if I'm not mistaken, and now followed by Pichu. Kind of a veteran, but still hasn't won a round yet. So we're going for late game now. We are 10 minutes away from late game with 4 players on top of the scoreboard with 2 flags already submitted and going for root. And that's where we're at, y'all.
I think it's B who's been on the Weave thing, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, that sounds right. And I saw B looking up like Weaveworks issues. I just hadn't seen the search. Like usually we'll see them search for like, you know, exploit or like Weave exploit GitHub or something like that. And quite possibly we were just on different screens at different times. P2 did get a root shell inside of the container, but they are now looking at documentation on install and set up kubectl. So
fair enough. I mean, everybody else did too, just a little bit ago.
Yep, they're a few steps behind, but doesn't mean that they can't catch up quickly. And doing the thing that hackers do, reading the docs.
Indeed.
I'm going to check on Mr. Gentleman. Ooh, that looks like a token.
They're keeping notes. Good job keeping notes.
Yes. I remember when I started taking notes, I felt like it was slowing me down so much. But then
I did too.
The amount of time that I would spend of like having to go back to figure things out is definitely way more expensive. Oh, nice. And going to try to decode the JWT. Do you know, do JWTs in this context actually decode to anything? Or are they just like a bunch of binary data?
I mean, how do I put this? I know that you can get to a point of decoding the service account token that you can use it. I have never bothered to try to decode it further because at that point you have gotten the thing that you want.
Nice.
The question was, is the KubeCon NA 2019 CTF going away or is it getting updated? That is the Secure Kubernetes website that we were talking about a minute ago. It does get updated. I know that because I put in a PR for it not that long ago. Whenever anything breaks, however, it is not actively being updated. However, also PRs are welcome. So it does get updated occasionally when it is visibly broken. It has not been rewritten.
Nice. And so is that like a long running CTF that's publicly available?
It was a CTF in person at KubeCon North America, San Diego in 2019. It just now lives on the internet and you can go play with it.
Excellent. I love that there are all these learning resources available for people that want to practice and learn.
I mean, learning is great. Like, and being able to help other people learn is pretty awesome, because that means that, you know, people discover new cool stuff, and then we teach each other, and then we all level up.
Filthy Legit has subscribed tier 1 for 2 months. Thank you, Filthy Legit. And Silvano has also subscribed Prime for 2 months. Damn, Silvano, just now? I mean, come on. Silvano was one of the first commentators of the English Live here with us in the broadcast. And just circling back to what Ian was saying, sharing is really, really good for you to also learn. It is a saying, at least in Brazil, that the best way of learning is to teach, is by teaching. I see a lot of people saying, but I don't know that. I don't know that much. I'm still a beginner. I'm kind of afraid to go out there and post my content and, divulge my content. Please don't be. Most people say that it's because they are not reinventing the wheel. I'm not putting out there something that someone haven't done already. So, I'm going to beat a dead dog or something like that. There is no such thing with putting your content out there. Maybe the way you're doing helps people in a way that other content producers weren't doing so far. Or maybe you're reaching people that, were not reached so far. You're teaching people on their own language or on their own pace, or making mistakes that they would probably make as well. So you're being relatable to their own process. And that's very important. And, first of all, do it for yourself. Do it for the journey. Have fun with it. Don't worry about, whoever's on the other side that much. Or if you doing rocket science and being a pioneer, don't worry with all that. Enjoy the ride.
I have to tell myself that all the time, because things that might be old to me could be new to somebody else, but I'm worried that everybody else already knows this. And so by me taking time to do something, everybody is going to be like, oh, like, of course, like we've known that for years, but it's definitely not the case. There are people that are out there learning and in different starting points in their path all the time. So put good content out in the world, find good people, build up, bring people with you, and work together. Ian, in your intro con talk, you had a really good point about finding people that that you can work with, and I've always kind of I published that same aspect or thought of, like, if you can find people that you can trust to work with and be honest with and everything, you're all going to get better together.
Absolutely, yeah. And like the more we share our knowledge and share with each other, and the more, like I said, all of us can level up together, which is pretty awesome. Waid scored 400 points now too.
Ooh, Waid is coming for it. Now we have 5 players with 400 points in the scoreboard. I think this is the first time that this many players, had 2 of the 3 flags, and with such a short time to go, still on the championship. They all have 1 hour.
Waid's doing good. Just like knowing what probably is the path here. I see a lot of people looking stuff up, and I see Waid actually doing it. So.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it looks like Waid is based on that bin bash at the end. I'm guessing that they're setting up to like exec a command. I just don't see the exec in there.
They're using the service account token to be able to kubectl exec into a shell.
Whoa! Yep. They got it.
Yeah.
Oh. Where is it? Where's the flag?
Oh my God! And the scoreboard is down.
No! Don't
oh my God!
No! Go back!
Oh.
Okay, so you can't get the shell with bash, but you can get the shell with shell. Mm-hmm. Good to know. Oh, let's see. This is the part where I would be like grepping for UHC for like the flag prefix across the system.
Oh my god. Who had this idea of meddling with the scoreboard? When I first started talking about it at the beginning of the stream, it sounded fun. Now it's just painful.
But yeah, I think Waid is the first one out. I don't think I've seen anybody else make it out yet. Yeah, we are watching. We're watching Waid currently. They've got a root shell. It looks like they're still in a Docker container, though, right? Based on the Docker env file. Ooh. I wonder, weavedb, that's a directory. I always think of databases as having data and flags being data. But yeah, this is where my my CTF mode of like, can I just quickly find the flag without knowing what the intended path is, per se. Like,
Right.
Find the flag might be in one subdirectory somewhere, but do I need to know like why it's there, or can I just get it? And I guess I didn't see hostname run, but I guess they're specifying which container to go after, right?
Well, these are not these are pods. So it
these are pods. Okay. So could be in like a different pod, maybe, or really they're not out onto the host yet, right? They're still inside of the pods. Inside the containers in the pods.
Okay, they're looking at the pods in the specific namespace. Not sure why they're looking in that one specifically. I'm also not sure why they're not looking in all namespaces. But I guess kube system is a decent one to look at for the same reason you would try the password admin. But depending on the way this cluster is namespace, that may or may not be where these things are. But you can actually just use the A flag to get all namespaces, which
nice.
saves you from having to do the enumerate every namespace thing that this person is doing.
Oh, wow. All right, come on.
Yeah, I'm like biting my nails over here.
It is that time of the UHC championship where we are at the edge of our seats. And just so you know, to amp up that anxiety right there, since we're all watching Waid, no one's watching the other players. Look at that.
I was just sort of mousing over to see if they look like they're up to anything interesting.
B, Silesian, Mr. Gentleman, Pichu, they're all with also 100 points. 400 points. They're all going for the root flag as well.
I think a lot of them are
there, right there with Silesian.
It looks like, which is fair.
Yeah,
we've all been there.
But by the way, shout out to MCO Mai in the chat with us. Also subscribe to us tier 1. Well, that was about time, right? MCO Mai was also a commentator with us in previous broadcasts and will be back soon enough. MCO Mai is also an amazing nerdcore rapper, just as N80 from Dual Core is also a nerdcore rapper. So if you want to listen to good music, go right now to your music streaming platform of preference and go look for MCO Mai or Dual Core Music or both. Listen to both of them at the same time.
And MCO Mai, not just a nerdcore rapper, MCO Mai has a country song as well. So multi-genre artist.
It is very much true.
So Waid right now is looking at a kubelet exploit for var log mounts. There was somebody else who was looking at this a minute ago. I don't remember who it was. but there's more than one of them looking at it. So for whatever that's worth.
I wonder if they saw something that they searched specifically that got them to this point, or if they're just looking up, Kubernetes exploit, and these are the results that are coming back.
From the ones that I have been watching live as they've done that, they have literally just been looking up Kubernetes pentest or Kubernetes escape, and then I think finding that. So I'm not totally sure if that is going to lead them anywhere or not. There was one of them was looking at host paths mounts. It might have also been Waid. I don't think that host path is open here, as far as I can tell. So I'm not sure that that is a great tree to bark up, but we'll find out.
Google, being the all-knowing search engine, is returning results for Kubernetes exploits, even though they're just searching for Kubernetes pen tests and everything. They're like, oh, you're playing UHC right now. Here's what you probably want.
I mean, it's but also no, because Google is responding with, here are potentially things that you could look for if you are pen testing Kubernetes, but that are going to depend pretty heavily on the way that that cluster is configured, and so may or may not actually get you anywhere depending on how this cluster is configured. If everybody has a Twitch coin for how many times I've said it depends on this thing, you probably have enough Twitch coins to do something funny with the scoreboard.
That's like always the answer, when like relatives reach out to me, right? Like, is it like, should I buy Bitcoin? I'm like, it depends.
Maybe.
Is Android more secure than iOS? It depends.
What problem are you trying to solve?
Exactly. What is your threat model? Because it's not my threat model.
Maybe.
Probably. I don't know. My threat model is my mustache. That's the thing I'm most worried about.
Oh, honey. Okay. B is having a hard time. Let's see what's going on with Silesian. Okay. Silesian is now also kubectl execing, but not with the token, which is an interesting choice. Let's see how this goes. Seems like they're doing okay, though.
So maybe it's unauthed.
Well, they just exited out of whatever they were doing.
Hmm.
Oh, there is a much easier way to do this that I am not going to spoil for any players who happen to be listening, but they are definitely playing on hard mode.
And that's the thing, right? Someone in the chat asked if the players were allowed to watch the streams. Yes, they are. Both of the streams. So it's part of the strategy for the players to play the CTF. Be aware of what the fans are doing with their Twitch points, like hiding the scoreboard and things like that. Listening to both of the streams, the English one and the Portuguese one. So, all for the mind games here. If you can do all of that and plus play a high pressure CTF online live on Twitch, in a very small scope of time, I mean, kudos to you. We can give hints. We are allowed. Not only here, but in the Portuguese live as well. So if you're listening, maybe we have tips, maybe we don't, maybe we just ramble on stuff that has nothing to do with your with our challenge right here.
So Silesian here is trying to create a pod that has a host path mount, which could potentially work. Is definitely, as I said, somewhat playing on hard mode. I can think of at least two easier ways to do the thing that they're doing right now, but could potentially work. So let's see how this goes.
Ian, are you like on the edge? Are you on the precipice of yelling out like the easier paths?
I'm trying so hard not to. I'm like, oh, you could just.
Oh, we have one more player with 400 points in the board, y'all. We have Big O's now with 400 points. It is the first time in the UHC history where we have that many players on late game just going everyone for the root flag at the same time. This is impressive.
Yeah, everyone on the board, which I don't know if we've had any weeks where all of the players got flags. And then, yeah, 6 out of 10 getting the medium flag. Fantastic.
Waid is looking up how to escape using a kernel exploit, which is a technique.
That is something.
It is. It is something. It is something.
Solution is still messing around with trying to create the YAML for a host path mount.
Yeah, one of the things I love about UHC is you'll see the players like make progress and then get distracted or go off in the wrong direction, and then come back and do something like really awesome, but then also take 2 more steps back.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we've all been there. Like I'm watching some of these, I'm like, yeah, and I did that on a CTF once too. This, I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm watching Waid right now, and they are setting up they're going back through their shell history, and I keep waiting to see like another kubectl command file off or fire off or something.
I'm just gonna like sit on my hands and keep my mouth shut.
Does this count as a yell at the screen moment?
I guess this is a reciprocate feeling, right? Probably Ian is struggling with not giving any hints, and the players are probably also listening to the stream like, oh my god, when is this when the hints are gonna start coming to us?
I'm trying so hard not to.
Everyone's like, sitting on the edge of their seats.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see how this goes. Not saying anything.
You're watching Salesian
I'm
currently?
watching Salesian, yeah.
Okay.
Who is? Oh.
Waid is execing a shell and then just checking if there's a TTY and bailing out of the shell if there's no TTY.
Yeah. Salesian is trying to create a pod, created the YAML for a pod, and is unfamiliar with kubectl. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what creating a new pod would get you if you've already got root. Maybe you could create a new pod that's more permissive.
It can get you anything you want if you do it right.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Cloud included. Like if you have the ability to create a pod, whether or not you are admin, you can do just about anything with it if you do it correctly. It's also really important to know when you're hacking Kubernetes that root is not really a thing that you look for in the same way that you would a lot of things. Like you can have root and it doesn't necessarily mean much. Cluster admin means more than root, but cluster admin isn't necessarily the end goal anyway. It just sort of depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that definitely applied with red team operating. I can't tell you how many times that we just didn't need root. There's so many ways to get to your objective where you don't need to privesc.
Then you just don't. What they're trying to do right now is create a host path mount, and I think it is not too hinty to say, I did a whole talk about this, and if you are interested in learning about host path mounts, we did a talk called The Path Less Traveled at Black Hat 2019, and that will explain what this person is doing, at least retroactively. Host path is wildly dangerous, incredibly powerful, and will allow you to get very serious amounts of host access.
And will that allow mounting the host file system?
There is also host PID and host network, which are its cousins, and you can get wild amounts of access with that as well.
Nice. And Silvano asked, does I'm starting Salesian have root on the host? And I don't think anybody has root on the host just yet.
Right now, what this person is trying to do is escape onto the host with a host path mount, but they're doing some stuff. right now. The theory is good. The practice, I think, could use a little work, but they'll get there. They just need to figure out the syntax.
Yeah, I expect for most of these players, probably their first time using kubectl, or maybe even seeing Kubernetes vulnerabilities potentially.
I'm definitely seeing a lot of like how to kubectl documentation happening with multiple players, and fair enough. But I think the tree is being barked up correctly in general. They just have to figure out how to do the thing.
And for the folks that are watching, you would see me do the same thing, except I would be a lot slower because I would be very nervous with everybody watching me play CTF.
And honestly, occasionally you would see me do it too, because Kubernetes is enormous and complex, and people forget commands all the time. And
a nice reminder also is we have a lot of other players we haven't tackled. Like, for example, Castillo, we barely see him play. Even João and Mateus, who are veterans, we haven't been there a lot. And it's because usually we used to stay with people on the top of the scoreboard, so you can watch the flags being captured as we go. But just so you know, maybe some players are not that fast as well. Maybe they're just enjoying the ride and having fun with having their name on the stream, and having the chance of growing and getting better on hacking. Just as Luska, a veteran player and also a past UHC winner, had a lot of weeks. I mean, a lot of weeks, around like 7 or 8 weeks of playing UHC, and with us barely watching his stream until some point he won, and we started paying more attention to what he was doing. So don't worry about that. If you take the statistics, we are just watching a few players because they have been scoring faster.
Well, and I've
Waid,
been going back and forth and mostly commenting on the ones that seem like they have stuff going on, as opposed to the ones that have just been like hanging out in the docks, because that is less exciting to watch and comment on.
Definitely.
Oh, Waid is now grepping for UHC on your suggestion, Aunt Amy.
Yep. Yeah, and I think Waid actually got out. I saw they had a root shell,
nice.
And then the permissions, like the groups they were in, was much smaller. I think they were in like just wheel or something. So I think that they might actually be on the host now.
If it's home EC2 user, they might be actually. How did they do that? Did you catch that?
I did not. I just happened to bounce down and I saw them looking. I saw their ID. They ran ID, and the access that came back was much smaller. They did see under .ssh there was an authorized keys.
He's highlighting it. So they did a kubeadm join with the service account token. That's how they got out.
Nice.
It's that really long one.
Oh yeah, I got it. kubeadm join, IP address, port, token. Nice. But now they're on the EC2 instance, right?
It seems like it, yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not sure what they're doing from here, but
yeah. And of course the shell has like no prompt or any additional context of like path or host name or anything. So all we just see is this blank terminal essentially.
Right.
I think we missed calling it out, but Armand, the cyber subscribe to us Prime, appreciate that. I've met that dude at HushCon in Seattle, and I think I saw Armand give a talk on IDA Pro, where the IDA Pro that they pulled up on the screen had like 99 seats available for like 1,000 years. And I was like, how did you get all those IDA licenses? But yeah, Armand, thanks for subscribing to us, and I hope that we can hang out one year at HushCon again before long.
Salesian is still struggle busing with kubectl. Has Waid gotten it yet?
Waid has not. Now Waid pulled the IP from where they are, the host IP. So it's a 54. So that's like the IP of the EC2 instance. And now they're nmapping that from outside of the cloud, like from their own their own host.
That is.
So I feel like Waid is really close if you just went looting through the instance.
Well, they did try to grep for UHC. I am confused as to what Waid is doing right now, but I have been jumping back and forth.
Yeah, so I mean, here there's a listing on the root file system, and there's no docker env. So that should be a good indicator that you are. I don't know what this auto relabel is, but that should be a good indicator that you're not in a container. And I will say we've seen in the past, sometimes they'll do the flag where it's like U space H space C. So if you just grep UHC, you won't find it. So that might be something else to consider for Waid.
I'm not sure why Waid is looking for Docker right now.
Yeah, that's a good question. We're approaching another yell at the screen moment.
Okay, I'm gonna go check on Selesian.
Sure, sounds good.
Oh,
well, now there's a .docker env. Okay.
Well, now I'm going back over there then.
Yeah, okay, I see. So they were in a directory that was called /host. So it looks like that /host is the host mounted, and they are still maybe in the container potentially. But
did they? I didn't see how they. Well, that shouldn't happen with a kubeadm join. Sometimes when you are in a Docker and Docker environment, you can do this like terrible Russian doll thing where you'll shroot out and then you'll just be in like the shroot rather than anywhere else. And then you just sort of get to do this like forever layered container thing. And I wonder if that's what they're doing. That shouldn't happen with, I think, the thing they did, but maybe I misunderstood what they were doing.
Yeah. I see up in the notes kubeadm join, and then underneath that they have this Docker run -- name UHC, and they're running like an Alpine container. But I don't know where that came from. Is that something that they saw in a file somewhere?
Yeah, that's weird.
Like actively running.
Like one of those things makes sense. I'm not sure where they're going with that. Don't know. But
the fun of hacking.
Yeah.
It looks like B dropped out. I don't see B's connection anymore. And granted, these players are in Brazil, so their internet connections may not be the most stable. So hopefully B makes it back in. I'm going to check on Selesian. See what Selesian's
I'm also currently checking on Selesian, who is still trying to figure out their host path mount, I think.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Last I checked on Mr. Gentleman, they were watching Liz Rice's talk from KubeCon Barcelona, which I took a screenshot of to send to her.
Nice.
And we're trying to do something with Kube Hunter. Yeah, I think that this is a misconfig rather than a vuln. So I'm not totally sure that Kube Hunter is going to do much for them, but it is worth a shot.
Is there published offensive tooling that can identify misconfigurations for what you're thinking might be the case here?
Maybe. It depends what it is.
Got it.
I guess give me another Twitch coin for that one or whatever.
It depends. Well, what are some of the more prominent Kubernetes like pen testing tools or like post exploitation tools that someone might run in this particular situation?
Kube Hunter is always, you might as well. One that I'm a really big fan of, maybe not quite where they are right now, but maybe for container stuff in general, is Am I Contained, which is not technically a pen testing tool, but is the first thing I'll run in pretty much any container environment, because it tells you about what kind of AppArmor seccomp, like what kind of runtime you're in and what capabilities are filtered and bounded and turned on or off. And that's usually the first thing that I will look at, because it is much cleaner than a lot of really loud Linux PrivX scripts, and you can figure out a fair amount just from running that.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, dropping linps inside of a container can be pretty noisy, and then also there may not be a lot of relevant stuff to check in there. And so checking first with something like "am I contained" seems like a good strategy.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Just letting y'all know that the bets are officially closed. You cannot bet anymore. So if you hadn't bet yet, well, tough luck. And just so you know, we are approaching the last 30 minutes of tonight's match. So we have Salesian in first place with 400 points. Mr. Gentleman B, Pichu, Waid, Bigos, João Ribeiro, Castilho, Eclipse 0, and Mateus following. So all the players in the scoreboard being Mr. Gentleman, B, Pichu, Waid, and Bigos with 400 points, which means they all have the 2 flags and they're going for root. And apparently it's in between Salesian and Waid because Waid is pretty close. Salesian also pretty close. So it's anyone's game at this point with just 30 minutes left.
Mr. Gentleman's doing okay, though.
Oh, nice. Let's check. Waid went back to Metasploit and is like looking at the shell shock stuff, which I don't know why they went all the way back to the beginning.
I think that's like the thing you do when you're not sure what's going on. In my experience, is that you're just like, I'm not. How did I get here again?
Yeah.
Just like I'm gonna try to retrace my steps and figure out like what my thought process was, because sometimes I'll just kind of like get down a rabbit hole and want to kind of be like, what was I doing? And I wonder if that's what they're doing with that.
Yeah, fair point.
9 also seems to have disconnected.
Yes. Yeah, I forget who was in 9. Yeah, I don't recall.
I looked away from Salesian for 2 seconds, and now they're counting authorized keys.
Ooh, nice. That was where Waid was at previously. There was a really cool entry. Yeah, this is it. There was this cool entry for basically being able to move on to another system, or I guess another system can move into this one, right?
Oh, okay, because install Kubadium. So that was where the Kubadium join came from. That makes sense.
Okay, nice.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so adding Salesian adding their own SSH key into authorized keys.
Makes sense.
And now they should be able to SSH onto the instance.
This is fun. Glad I clicked over.
Yeah, good call. And Salesian being very kind in making the font big so that we can see what's going on easily. Let's see. Oh, it looks like maybe there's a typo in the authorized keys file. I see a trailing space H at the end of one of those lines. But I think here you've got it looks like you've got the root file system mounted for the EC2
yeah, no,
instance.
He did the host mount correctly, because the last time I had clicked away, shell demo 8 was the name of the volume that he was trying to mount. So he did the thing.
Nice. There you go. There's your shell.
Yeah.
All right, running IP, we can see there's an internal address on, looks like a virtual interface there, if85, 10.32.
Yeah, they're on US West 2 because they're on an EC2 instance, I think.
Yes, yeah, right. Yep, US West 2 compute internal.
Yep.
Yep, there you go. Grep for that UHC. Let's see. Okay, so there's a shell.
Why are they draining a node though? Okay.
The tension, yo. The tension. I can cut it with a knife.
Sorry. MCOMI asks, what is draining a node? Did you say draining a node, Ian?
What is draining a node? It is sometimes if you kind of want to start all over again and you want to like kind of blow stuff away in a sort of destructive way, then if you delete the pods, it might have stuff left over in it, for example, and then you can drain the node to not have that be a thing anymore. That was awful tech talk, but if you get the general idea. It is a thing that like, it is generally considered sort of destructive and is a thing that you would not want to do unless you had a reason to do it. And so I was just like, why that in this moment? But I think maybe they were just looking for stuff about volume mounts.
So it's effectively doing like a complete clear out of a worker node?
Potentially, yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that would not be the move to make in this situation.
I was curious as to why they were going that way, but it seems like maybe. Did they say be right back?
Solution has to put on the victory song.
Is that what they said?
No, I don't know.
No,
I saw them switching to Spotify.
He said when you get the wrong server.
So Salesian thinks that that he's on the wrong server.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Doing that copy paste.
Oh, hey. Waid is looking at Rory McEwen's blog. Shout out to Rory if you're watching this. And is doing a shroot thing. Interesting. I think is maybe doing, not sure what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Waid with a root shell as well. Running Docker, maybe.
And Salesian, who I went back to check on since he went over there, is now trying to proxy chain SSH into this thing. Just successfully did it, I think.
Nice.
Maybe. Amazon Linux 2 AMI, that seems promising.
Yes, this looks good. Although they already had this file access, right? They found the install kubeadm.
Well, remember though that there was one person who was doing things with kubeadm and it wasn't Salesian. So I'm just saying. Yeah.
Back in the Brazilian chat, in the Brazilian live, I keep watching both of the lives. The Brazilians are just jumping up and down the camera.
Okay, I know exactly what Salesian is doing, and I'm going to sit on my hands again. Sorry, Salesian. Yep, sitting on my hands. Oh, this is
wow, look at all those
I
containers.
am actually clicking away from here so as to avoid spoiling anything. Mr. Gentleman is working on listing secrets. So working on that.
Salesian pinging, I guess one of the container IPs. I didn't catch what that IP was for. 172.31.25.89. Oh no, that's a EC2.
I can't watch Salesian right now. I cannot do it. I'm going back over to look at Waid.
But they can do they've got. I mean, they can run Docker with sudo, whichever way you pronounce it.
I think that there is something that is being missed that is being missed.
Would you venture to say that the flag is on the host or in a container somewhere? Just
I
your
would guess that it's on the host because the hint is that you should escape from jail.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there is a tree barking issue here, and I'm just going to keep clicking away. I am watching Waid, and Waid is, what is Waid doing? Going through their bash history. Because they're trying to enable the kubelet. But I'm not sure what they're doing exactly.
Yeah, they're in the looks like the same vantage point as Selesian with the shell on the instance, and then also listing the containers.
They're listing the pods.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just going to keep correcting you because they're not the same. But they're both
Right.
of those things are valid things. They are just not the same thing.
Sorry. Yeah, I thought I saw them run Docker PS. Which
Actually, you're right.
thought
He
was
is listing
containers.
containers. That's on me. That's me looking at the wrong thing.
The outputs are similar, I guess, maybe.
Well, and I'm
but yeah,
squinting
no
at it.
worries. Yeah, also that.
Like I have mascara in my eye. Okay, so I'm not sure what they're doing with it though. Okay, and Selesian was listing the pods, not the containers last time I looked. What are they doing now?
Okay.
Now they're going back and listing out the output again with the secrets in it.
Ooh-wee.
I'm not
All right.
totally sure for what purpose.
Oh, this looks like network settings, I think. And I did see Selesian looking up some network stuff on Stack Overflow. So maybe they're thinking there might be a different network that has other assets in it. Hard to know.
Hard to know. Oh, okay. Hey, good job, Selesian. Is looking up kubeadm list pods and how to list container images in all namespaces. They figured out the all namespace thing. So, okay, kubectl gets pods -- all namespaces will allow you to list from all namespaces rather, you can also do it with a capital A, rather than having to enumerate them one namespace at a time, which is a massive pain in the bum.
And here they're getting an error, Selesian getting an error that the service, I guess, is not listening on that port.
That's not uncommon. Somebody else was getting that error earlier. Don't remember who though.
And so I guess here I would be thinking, what port is do I actually need to talk to? So I would probably be looking for something like netstat or SS or something.
So what that actually means is that your networking is not hooked up correctly. And a lot of the time that will be because there's a CNI issue or because you just haven't hooked DNS up right. Because they've been doing stuff with CNIs, it might be related to that. I didn't actually see how they got here. But I think they're doing the same thing you just said of like, okay, what is happening in here?
Did running hostname 127.0.0.1 attempt to change the hostname to 127.0.0.1? What does that say? You were hacked, Marina?
Does it?
Yes, it does. Você foi hackeado. You were wrecked. You were hacked.
So I think that there are multiple people with root shells on this instance, and so they're using like wall or talk or something like that to send messages. Is my
Fun.
guess. That is something that I've not seen yet in UHC. It's something that I definitely did when I was in school, and you'd be in class, and other people would be on the same host with you or whatever. And if they weren't running Vi or Vim or V, I would cat like Devu random to their TTY, which was always fun.
At National CCDC, I red teamed for this year, and there was definitely some smack talk happening on the wall.
Nice. Also fun when people didn't know that wall was a thing, so you would send them like, hey, do you want to go to lunch in 30 minutes? And then they wouldn't know like who it was from or how to respond to it. And Waid is curling some IP address 1096.0.1, and that's pulled out of a config Kubernetes service host.
They were just running Docker env, and I think pulled it out of there.
Okay, nice.
20-minute countdown to the finals. I mean, to the end of the championship. They only have 20 minutes now left to get this root flag. We still have Solution first, followed by Mr. Gentleman, BP2, Waid, Bigos, and all of them with 400 points, all of them going for the root. João Ribeiro Castilho, Eclipse 0, and Mateus Pimentel, all of them with 100 points still. We are now in between Solution, Mr. Gentleman, and Waid. They're all very close, so we're sitting in the edge of our chairs, of our seats. And just to remind y'all, whenever we're done here, so whichever happens first, whoever gets root first, or if the time is over, we will raid to the Brazilian live stream, and we're gonna interview the winner. We're gonna get the challenges walkthrough, and we're also gonna have offensive security exclusive giveaways as well. If you're in the chat, that's all you have to do to participate in the giveaways. You just have to be on chat with us, and that's pretty much it. You can get an OSCP PWK training course with 30 days lab access, plus the OSCP exam fee, or you can have another prize, which is 1 month voucher for Proving Grounds access. So stay with us till the end, which is almost 15 minutes now.
Super dope giveaways. And I think that one of these two players or one of these three players is going to pull it out. I'm very hopeful.
Also, I am delighted by this. I'm taking the screenshots of everybody's talks being looked at so I can send it to them. Right now, Mr. Gentleman is watching Brad Gieseman's canonical Kubernetes hacking talk from KubeCon 2017. This really did set the stage for a lot of the things that came up later. Brad's amazing. I'm honored to get to work with him a bunch. So I'm not entirely sure that this is going to get Mr. Gentleman where they need to be, though, because this is a pretty old talk, and I'm familiar with the techniques that are being used on it. And while some of them hold up, I don't think that the path that needs to be taken is this one. But they're doing the thing.
Yeah, Kubernetes has close to like a 90-day release cycle, right?
It just got changed, and now it is a 4-month release cycle instead of a 3-month release cycle. But until mid-2020, it was 90 days the whole time. My breakout Kubernetes talk, pun intended, had to be rewritten thrice because every time I would give it again at a different conference, a lot of the sort of old school Kubernetes attack surface got really decimated between like 1.6 and 1.89-ish. And just like swaths of the attack surface would just be gone, and I would just have to rewrite it because those attacks were not viable anymore. So that was a fun time. It's every 4 months now, and the attack surface is not quite as wide open as it was, and the threat model is somewhat more sophisticated than it was, and so now it's not a matter of like, oh no, all the techniques are gone, so much as like they're refining, attackers are refining. I guess we are refining because I'm SIG security chair now, and attackers are refining too.
Yeah, it reminds me of like pwn to own stuff where the vendors will patch something right before the event, and so then you've got to like rework whatever your chain was, or come up with some different bug to make it happen. And so in your case, you end up having to rework parts of your talk 3 different times.
Same idea, yeah. And like people definitely give talks where like that attack hasn't been viable for a long time, but I like playing on hard mode. So
yes.
it looks like Salesian is assigning pods to nodes. It's an interesting way to go. I'm not totally sure what they're doing, actually. What are they doing with node selectors? They are adding a node selector to specific pods. Are they thinking, because Salesian was the one who said they were concerned about being on the wrong server, right? Are they thinking they're on the wrong node? Huh, okay.
Yeah, very well could be. That might be their concern. I'm looking at Waid's screen, and Waid was looking through process listings, and now they're just kind of cruising the file system. And it does appear that when they ran hostname 127.0.0.1, that did actually change the hostname, because now their shell prompt says root at 127.
That's hilarious.
15 minutes countdown, everyone. 15 minutes.
Okay, so now Salesian is putting their, this makes sense actually. They're putting in their YAML the node name with this particular IP in it and updating their YAMLs. They figured out how to apply their YAML. That's cool.
Nice.
And changing the name of it to reflect that, which makes sense.
Got the shell. All right. This looks like the same access that they had previously, though, right?
I keep clicking away from them because I keep sitting on my hands. And so every time I click back on Salesian, I have to figure out what's going on again.
I guess one thing to note here is when they did check the host name, it did match up with what was in the CTF challenge entry.
Which I think they did on purpose because they had just added it as the node name. They're installing something called ripgrep.
Yeah, ripgrep will put a binary on the system called RG, and then RG has, it does grep, but it's like super fast.
Mm.
So in UHC, we'll see the players get on a box and then install ripgrep, and then they'll RG for like UHC across the system and find it super fast.
So I think they're looking for the flag right now.
Yeah, by a file system name. And yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was gonna say need some wildcards probably, and maybe -I name instead, just to be safe.
Yeah, flag is a relatively common thing to grep for.
Apparently, the Brazilians are having heart attacks live by looking at Waid's screen.
Look at Waid's screen. Okay, what's going on at Waid's screen?
Because they are literally jumping around the room and screaming and holding their heads. So it's
yeah, Waid was grepping for UHC, but I didn't see any results come back. But also may have missed something in the grep, because I think I just saw grep -R UHC and then like no path specified, which in that case it would just be grepping through whatever comes in through standard in.
Apparently Salesian just made an attempt and got the flag and submitted wrong?
Oh, I didn't see.
I didn't see it either. Now I'm back over there.
Yeah. What's Kade or Kaji?
Kadea flag. He's questioning. He's asking, where is the flag?
The question on everyone's mind.
What is happening?
So this is
Okay, you're adding to
Salesian is-
authorized keys. Fair enough.
Yep. I think it's EC2-user. I don't think it's the. Oh no, it was root. Never mind.
10 minutes countdown to the end of the UHC tonight, and we are almost there. We are so close. The Brazilians and all the other way in their lives are just spinning in their chairs and screaming at the screen. Ian is almost has almost no hands at all because they're sitting in their hands this entire time. They can not even look at the screen at this point. We have been in an awkward, tense silence for a few minutes now.
Same thing that I
Because
just
so
mentioned.
close.
No path specified there on that grep. So it's just grepping standard in.
It's stressful.
So close. Salesian just wrote, I am not finding the flag. Mr. Gentleman
there,
wrote
Salesian.
on the Discord chat, Mr. Gentleman wrote, I am done with this Kubernetes thing.
I mean,
Need
I
more
like
geese.
it.
Also, another thing that I'm surprised by is we've seen the UHC players use riprep week after week after week, but they're always installing it through the package manager. Yet they pull down a static build of Nmap or SOCAT. So I'm surprised that none of them have a static build of riprep that they can just pull down and run. There you go. Okay. Yeah, that can work.
We are now watching Waid's screen, and we are almost 5 minutes to the end of UHC tonight with Salesian on the lead with 400 points.
If so, the way that Salesian is running find here with this /semicolon, I think find will spawn a new process for each argument. But if you, instead of doing the semicolon at the end, if you do a plus, so just curly braces and then plus, it'll pass all of those file names into grep directly, and so you'll run one grep process across everything.
We just got the flag.
We got the flag?
I think so.
Oh, on the planet.
Is it really Honk the Planet? Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. Did you see how Waid got it?
Waid was running an interesting series of Docker commands and finding it through that. Cool.
Was it Honk the Planet or Hack
It
the
was
Planet?
absolutely Honk the Planet.
Honk the
confirm.
Planet, y'all.
And with like 5 minutes remaining, amazing.
With 5
3 minutes, I think,
remaining
even.
on our clock, Waid is tonight's winner, and he was in 5th place. So till now. All right, so just so you know, we're gonna raid to the Brazilian channel, to the Brazilian live stream. There, we're gonna interview Waid to know how his process was, by going through the flags. We're also gonna talk to Magno, which is the dude who actually developed the machines of tonight's challenge. And stay with us because by only being in the chat and exclamation point sorteo or the command that we will have there, you can participate on tonight's offensive security giveaways. So stay with us. We're gonna raid there. Please don't be afraid. It's gonna we're gonna have Portuguese mixed with English. We're gonna, it's a bilingual thing. We're gonna have in both languages. We're gonna translate a lot. So stay with us, and you might stay home with an OSCP or Proving Grounds access tonight, and you also get to know how the players, advance through the challenge as well. And that's pretty much it, y'all. We'll see you in the other channel.
And then